2. 25%. Chapter 81 Drunken Heart Pavilion. The lottery is successful. Congratulations for getting the 27 indistinguishable Dao early stage summoned characters. The lottery is successful. Congratulations on getting the 27 intermediate spirit pool springs. The lucky draw is successful. Congratulations on getting 1,000 types of heavenly and mortal treasures at random levels. The lottery is successful. Congratulations for getting 7 indistinguishable Dao late stage summoned characters. The lucky draw is successful. Congratulations on getting the Ba Ling divine body. The lucky draw is successful. Congratulations on getting the 39 intermediate spirit pool springs. Tyrannical spirit body. What is this? Use. As Chen Daojun meditated in his heart, the aura in his body suddenly increased, and an incomparably powerful aura spread out instantly, and a phantom in golden armor appeared behind him, as if a god and demon had descended into the world. Tyrannical divine body. Chen Daojun also knows what this physique is for. This seems to be a kind of physique that appeals to the upper body, which can greatly improve his overall combat power in a short period of time. His current cultivation base is the divine transformation late stage. If he uses this physique, he can become a void return stage in a short period of time, the cultivator. Thinking of this, Chen Daojun's breath trembled suddenly. His aura also broke through from divine transformation late stage to divine transformation return to origin. Well, another breakthrough, Chen Daojun said lightly. And Lin Wanqing, who was at the side, was dumbfounded at this moment. These days he has been hit so badly, he can sense the patriarch's cultivation base break through almost every day or two, and his little heart can't bear the blow. It is really the most incisive interpretation of breakthroughs, like drinking water. Chen Daojun stood up and walked outside. Let's go out with me. Lin Wanqing hurriedly followed. The two quickly left the Chen family and headed towards the outer city. The inner city is boring and not lively. Chen Daojun feels that the inner city is like an elegant Western restaurant, while the outer city is like a night market. In comparison, Chen Daojun still prefers night markets. Livelier. After the two walked out of the outer city, they headed straight for a 7-story pavilion in the center. This pavilion is called Zuxin Pavilion, and it is a relatively hot place in the outer city. He can eat, and he also brings the song and dance of Chunlu. It is an excellent place to relax. When Chen Daojun is bored recently, he will come to this place to relax. Behind him, Lin Wanqing showed a helpless expression on his face. Even though he was by his side, the patriarch actually went out to see other young ladies. Sad. But what made Lin Wanqing sad was not that Chen Daojun looked at other women, but that he looked at other women and didn't even want to eat himself. Lin Wanqing expressed that she was very sad, very sad. Several times when she was giving Chen Daojun a massage, she intentionally and accidentally touched his calf, and even reacted, but the owner was still indifferent. The owner doesn't like men, does he? No, it's definitely not possible. If I like men, why would there be a reaction, and why would I go to Zuxin Pavilion to see the young lady every day? It must be my way is wrong. It can't be because I'm just a maid, right? But isn't the maidservant just playing with the owner? To warm the bed. I just want the patriarch to pamper me, why is it so difficult? Lin Wanqing followed behind Chen Daojun, thoughts racing through her mind. The two soon arrived at Zuxin Pavilion. Mr. Chen, you are here again, hurry up and invite me inside. The old position is still reserved for you. The receptionist at the door, with a friendly smile on her face, led him very respectfully into a corner of the first floor. This Zuxin Pavilion actually has private rooms, but Chen Daojun just likes this kind of first floor, just to make it lively. Every time Chen Daojun comes here, he will order some very expensive dishes. He is considered a big customer here, and he comes here very frequently, so Zuxin Pavilion directly reserved this seat for him. The receptionist said with a smile on her face, "Young Master Chen, are you still following the original specifications?" Chen Daojun threw out a Cosmos bag. Yes. The woman who received the bag ended up with a Chenkin bag, and the smile on her face was even bigger. My lord, wait a moment, the dishes will be served to you soon. She never thought that the person in front of her was the head of the Chen family, not even the members of the Chen family. From her point of view, the Chen family is huge. If they come to Zuxin Pavilion, they will definitely not be so low-key. And if it was someone from the Chen family, let alone the Master Chen himself, even if it was a direct descendant, their pavilion master would probably come out to greet him in person. Chen Daojun pointed to the place in front of him and said, "Stop standing, sit down." Upon hearing this, Lin Wanqing immediately sat obediently opposite Chen Daojun. After a while, the food was brought up. To be honest, the dishes here are relatively ordinary. Although many dishes are rare, for Chen Daojun, they are all so. Seeing that Chen Daojun's table was full of dishes, everyone around couldn't help but look sideways, and then glanced at the simple dishes on his own table. There was no harm without comparison. Zuxin Pavilion is divided into 7 floors, and the people on the first floor have the lowest spending power, and most of them are ordinary people. The higher the level, the higher the spending power and the more noble the status. In the very center of the Zuxin Pavilion, there is a high platform, on which sits cross-legged a woman with a delicate face to perform there. Her voice is melodious and pleasant, making one extremely relaxed. While eating, Chen Daojun was enjoying the music in Zuxin Pavilion. At this moment, a discordant voice sounded, making the atmosphere in the Zuxin Pavilion a bit noisy. You Zuxin Pavilion actually put poison in the food. I saw a middle-aged man standing at the door full of anger and roaring, and beside him was a man with a weak face. The man with a weak expression also said, I ate here this morning. After returning home, I felt that the spirit power in my body was disordered, and the qi and blood flowed backwards. I almost had qi deviation directly. If my dage hadn't come in time, I'm afraid I would have ascended to heaven directly. You poisoned the food in Zuxin Pavilion, you must give an explanation today. Hearing these remarks, the entire Zuxin Pavilion fell silent, and many people who were eating happily stopped their movements and looked a little cautious. Poisonous. Judging from the aura of that person, it was obvious that he was a nascent soul stage cultivator. Such a strong person almost fell, and they didn't need to say more. The food in Zuxin Pavilion is poisonous. It's true, I've eaten here several times, isn't it all right? I don't think the food is poisonous, but the people are poisonous. Brother, you still have too little knowledge. This is obviously here to make trouble. I guess it's because I can't get used to how hot this Zuxin Pavilion is. I heard that there is only a small family behind this Zuxin Pavilion, and the strongest person is only at the nascent soul stage. A few days ago, several divine transformation stage forces wanted to buy Zuxin Pavilion, and that family didn't want to sell it either. Looking at the person who came to trouble today, it is likely to be one of those divine transformation periods. This Zuxin Pavilion is almost becoming the hottest store in the outer city. With so many spirit stones in daily revenue, it's impossible to keep people from being envious. The key point is that it was run by a small family with no background at all. I guess the Zuxin Pavilion will definitely be lost. These diners are all here to eat, and it has nothing to do with them who is in charge of the house, so they all look like they are watching a good show. 25%. Chapter 82 The Zhou Family. I know these 2 people. I saw them in Yachenju before. By the way, they are from the Shu family. Looking at it this way, they are here to make trouble. If you ask me, it's better to sell the Zuxin Pavilion directly. Anyway, they are not strong enough, so they will definitely not be able to keep it. That's right, Xuantian City is developing so fast now, and Zuxin Pavilion's business in Xuantian City is so good, how could it be possible for a small family like him to control it? Don't end up dying. Discussions continued to ring out in the Zuxin Pavilion, and many people looked on gloatingly. After a while, a middle-aged man with a thin face walked down the stairs. His face was extremely ugly. It is naturally impossible for Zuxin Pavilion to make poisonous food, and you are in the nascent soul period. What kind of thing can poison you like this? The man stepped forward, and cupped hands said, You too, I am Zhou Ping, the shopkeeper of this Zuxin Pavilion. You said that the food in my Zuxin Pavilion is poisonous. Is this a misunderstanding? My Zuxin Pavilion has always done business with conscience, how could it be poisoned? The pale-faced man scolded angrily. This is your business, what does it have to do with me? I have never eaten in the past few days, I just came to your drunken pavilion for a meal, who else but you? The person beside him also yelled angrily. I took my second brother to see it just now, and said that it was because of some poison that the problem appeared. Your Zuxin Pavilion is mediocre, and there are so many guests every day. It's not impossible to use some weird things to make up for it. Hearing this sentence, many people in Zuxin Pavilion were stunned for a moment. Although they all knew that the 2 of them were here to make trouble, this is indeed telling the truth. Your background is only a restaurant in the nascent soul period. The daily traffic is so large. Where did you get so many exotic treasures? To meet demand. Zhou Ping's face was extremely ugly. The 2 words are a bit too much. This Zuxin Pavilion has been open for several days, and there has never been a case of food poisoning. The 2 must have eaten something else. Presumptuous. Dage Shu-lin spoke directly and angrily said, "You mean my second brother is lying?" The breath of the nascent soul stage in his body exploded instantly, sweeping towards Zhou Ping. Zhou Ping was just a cultivator at the golden core stage. How could he withstand the nascent soul stage? His legs trembled a little all of a sudden, as if he would kneel down at any time. He simply couldn't bear the pressure brought by the nascent soul stage. Shu Lin said in a cold tone, "My second brother said that he only ate in your Zuxin pavilion, didn't you hear that? You still think my second brother will make fun of own life?" In the Zuxin pavilion, many people shook their heads. This strength is too weak. It is impossible to keep the Zuxin pavilion. Zhou Ping's face turned red. He was struggling to resist the pressure released by Shu Lin. He really wanted to refute, but under this pressure, he couldn't even speak. "I didn't expect this Zuxin pavilion to be like this. I don't want to eat it anymore. Give me my money back." Suddenly, a guest on the first floor stood up, lifted the table directly, and said in an arrogant tone, "I won't eat anymore, so hurry up and return the money to me." This senior at the nascent soul stage was almost poisoned to death. "I'm only at the golden core stage. If I eat something poisonous, I can't splatter blood on the spot for 5 steps. Money back." The entire Zuxin pavilion suddenly became noisy. Almost 20 people stood up, angrily reprimanded Zhou Ping, demanding a refund. These people are obviously foreshadowed in advance. Quite a few theatergoers hesitated as they looked at the food on the table. Although they feel that the possibility of poisoning is very low, but be careful to sail the 10,000-year ship, what if? "How about this?" A voice sounded from outside, and a middle-aged man with a calm face approached. At the same time, the pressure on Zhou Ping disappeared. Zhou Ping hurriedly saluted. "Meet the patriarch." The person who came was the head of the Zhou family, Zhou Zan, who was also the only nascent soul cultivator in the Zhou family. Zhou Zan said coldly, "The two said it was poisoned in this Zuxin pavilion. If they can produce evidence, then I will be willing to pay compensation from Zuxin pavilion." "Evidence?" Shu Lin sneered. "My second brother only ate in your Zuxin pavilion, isn't that evidence?" Hearing this sentence, Zhou Zan's face was also a bit ugly. Shu Lin and the two gave him a feeling that he would never give up until he reached his goal. He didn't expect the Shu family to be so ruthless and use such dirty tricks if they can't get Zuxin pavilion. Not only that, Zhou Zan also sensed a few familiar auras in the Zuxin pavilion. These are people from major families, and they all had the intention to buy the Zuxin pavilion before. Even if the Shu family did not come forward today, it is estimated that other families will come to exert pressure. Zhou Zan asked with an ugly face, "Then what do you think?" Zuxin pavilion is extremely important to the Zhou family. Such a hot business can almost become the foundation for the rise of the Zhou family. If it is sold, it is equivalent to selling the future of the entire Zhou family. So Zhou Zan is impossible to do that. Moreover, the bargaining chips given by the masters were not enough, which did not move his heart at all. If they are willing to spend a lot of money to buy this Zuxin pavilion, he can still accept it. The key point is that no one's price is normal, and they all want to buy it at a low price. Thinking of this, Zhou Zan felt extremely helpless in his heart. This is the sorrow of being weak. Shu Lin sneered and said, "My second brother is injured like this, you can just give me 30 or 50 dragon transformation pills, and it will be fine for my second brother to take care of himself." Dragon pill. Many people in the Zuxin pavilion were surprised. This medicine pill is extremely precious. It can allow people to directly break through without barriers during the divine transformation period. 35 pieces of dragon transformation pills. It was obvious that he didn't want to let this Zuxin pavilion open anymore. This medicine pill, with the strength of the Zhou family, it is estimated that they can't get a single one. Zhou Zan's expression was gloomy when he heard this, and his heart completely sank to the bottom of the valley. There are so many dragon transformation pills, not to mention their Zhou family, even the Shu family can't get them. This kind of medicine pill, which is very beneficial to the divine transformation period, how could he get it in a nascent soul period? Damn it. Zhou Zan cursed angrily in his heart. Obviously the Zhou family could use this Zuxin pavilion to rise up, but unexpectedly encountered such a thing. If Zuxin pavilion continues to develop like this, at most 2 or 3 years, he can use this to impact the divine transformation period. Moreover, Xuantian city is still growing and growing. As long as Zuxin pavilion is established in the old Dage's position in the outer city, it will definitely not worry about not earning spirit stones in the future. The members of the Zhou family can also satisfy their cultivation resources. Maybe after a few hundred years, the Zhou family can also rise and become a force in the void returning stage or even the indistinguishable Dao stage. 2. 26%. Chapter 83 Chen Family Token. Zhou Zan gritted his teeth and said, "This fellow Taoist, you said that the food in our Zuxin pavilion is poisonous, and all the ingredients we buy here are from the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce. You can't say that the products sold by the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce are poisonous, right?" The Zhou family naturally didn't have the ability to produce and sell it themselves. All their materials were bought from the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce. Although this would result in a decrease in profits, it was still a huge fortune for the Zhou family. Hearing Zhou Zan's words, Shu Lin sneered, "Isn't it related to the fact that your food is poisonous when you buy from the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce? The Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce is only responsible for selling it to you. How to do it is up to you." Now, in Zuxin Pavilion, many people also spoke one after another. "That's right, the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce also sells some poisonous items, so what if you bought them from the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce? Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and give me my money back, I don't dare to come to Zuxin Pavilion again, so come whoever you love." It was naturally impossible for Zhou Zan to agree to their request. If he succumbed this time, the Shu family's offensive would be even more violent, and it was impossible for them to continue to open the Zuxin Pavilion in Xuantian City. Zhou Zan's eyes suddenly became cold, and his heart was filled with murderous intent. The strength of the Shu family is much stronger than theirs, and there are 4 divine transformation periods in the family, which is not at the same level as their Zhou family. He wanted to be tough but couldn't be tough. If it really angered the other party, it is unknown whether the Zhou family can still exist. Do you really want to send Zuxin Pavilion out? In Zhou Zan's view, the price offered by the Shu family is almost the same as the free gift. Shu Lin's aura shook, and he said with a sneer, "Zhou Zan, I don't want to repeat it anymore. Either give me the dragon transformation pill, or pay for it at my own expense. This matter is over. Otherwise, the consequences are at your own risk." Hearing these words, Zhou Zan's eyes sank. He didn't expect that the Shu family didn't intend to let him go. "This Zuxin Pavilion is finished. I remember this person seems to be Zhou Zan from the Zhou family. It's really stupid for a nascent soul to offend the Shu family and other forces. Zuxin Pavilion's business is so good, how can he manage to live in the Zhou family? It's actually quite good here, and the taste is not bad. Every time I come here, it's as friendly as going home, but I won't have the chance to come back. This time not only can't keep Zuxin Pavilion, but also can't keep Owen's hand. Hey. The wife is gone. Wife. Sighs kept ringing in the Zuxin Pavilion, and many members of the Shu family looked at all this with eyes reveal sneers. Shu Lin's attitude was extremely domineering, and he didn't give Zhou Zan a chance to choose at all. There are so many people in Zuxin Pavilion's eyes, and it is impossible for the Shu family to eat them. If the Shu family wants to occupy the Zuxin Pavilion, other forces will inevitably jump out to oppose it. At that time, the Shu family will be besieged on all sides, so the best result is that everyone should not want the Zuxin Pavilion. Zhou Zan said with an ugly face, "Fellow Taoist, this is a bit too much, isn't it?" "Excessive," Shu Lin sneered. "Then what about my second brother's injury? Isn't it too much for you Zuxin Pavilion to poison my second brother like this?" Speaking of this, the aura on Shu Lin's body became more violent, like a volcano that was about to erupt at any time, and the aura in the entire Zuxin Pavilion also became suppressed, full of the smell of a sword being on the verge of breaking out. Shu Lin's cold voice continued to sound. "Leaving you alive is already kind enough, don't be ignorant of what's good. Papa Papa." At this moment, crisp applause resounded in the Zuxin Pavilion. "A little nascent soul period, how can you jump like this?" Many people suddenly showed surprise on their faces, and looked towards the source of the voice, wanting to know who it was that did not give the Shu family face so much. A handsome young man came into view, and there was a beautiful woman in front of him. Just looking at the appearance of the two of them, I feel a little extraordinary. Do any of you know who this person is? I don't know much about him, I've never seen him before, but judging by his appearance, he doesn't seem to be an ordinary person. But offending the Shu family like this, I'm afraid I can't get any benefits. Shu Lin narrowed his eyes, and said coldly, "This fellow Taoist, the Shu family is doing things, I advise you, it's best not to worry about it." His Shu family not only has several divine transformation stages, but is also a vassal of a void return stage force, which is already considered strong in the entire outer city. No matter what the background of these two young people in front of them is, they have the confidence to continue. Lin Wanqing stood up abruptly, angrily scolded, presumptuous. Shu Lin's eyes froze for a moment. He couldn't see through Chen Daozhen's aura, but he could see Lin Wanqing very clearly. He was just a trash on the 6th floor of Golden Core. Where did you get the courage to talk to yourself like that? Lin Wanqing didn't continue to speak. She stood up directly, and then walked towards Shu Lin. What is this person doing? Could it be that she still wants to do something? She is only a Golden Core period, so Shu Lin doesn't dare to do it because she thinks she looks good. It's weird. I always feel that there is something wrong with these two young people. Many people in Zuxin Pavilion are discussing. But Shu Lin showed a sarcasm. He really wanted to see what this little girl wanted to do. Lin Wanqing walked up to Shu Lin without saying a word, took out an identity card from the Chenkin bag, threw it in front of him, and then turned and left. Shu Lin just wanted to tease the little girl, but he glanced at the token on the ground out of the corner of his eye. His eyes shrank suddenly, and a coolness rushed straight to Tianlin Gai. I saw a big Chen character on the badge, and in the entire Xuantian city, only one faction had such an identity badge. You are the Chen family. Something's wrong. This token. This is the Chen family. Those two people turned out to be members of the Chen family. I said they looked extraordinary. They turned out to be members of the Chen family, and judging by their appearance, they seem to be descendants of the Chen family. This is a good show. Direct line. Brother, have you ever seen a purple ID card? Purple. I've never seen this one before. Could it be the elder of the Chen family? Now the Shu family will suffer. Many people were shocked. The Chen family is now the overlord of Xuantian City, with many indistinguishable Dao late-stage powerhouses, and even killed Mu Lin, the indistinguishable Dao stage returned to origin. Such forces are already huge, not to mention the forces of the Divine Transformation stage. Even the forces of the Void Return stage and indistinguishable Dao stage cannot be provoked. Shu Lin's forehead kept dripping with sweat. Thinking that he had warned them just now, he felt a little chilly. The pale man beside him turned even paler at this moment, without blood. Shu Lin swallowed, knelt on the ground without hesitation, then picked up the token respectfully, knelt and walked towards Chen Daozhen. When he arrived at Chen Daozhen's table, Shu Lin held up the token in his hand and said in a trembling voice. Small man to have eyes but fail to recognize Mount Tai, please forgive me, my lord, and spare me the life of a dog. The Chen family is the overlord of Xuantian City. It's too easy for them to kill someone. Shu Lin was already terrified in his heart. 26%. Chapter 84. Facing Shu Lin's Kongshin, everyone in the Zuxin Pavilion understood very well, and no one laughed at them. After all, they were facing such a behemoth as the Chen family. If you don't do what you want at this time, the ending will definitely be extremely miserable. These two are members of the Chen family, and they are so low-key, sitting only on the first floor. It's not a big deal. Let's keep a low profile in Xuantian City from now on. Maybe someday we will offend someone from the Chen family, and it will be miserable. However, this Chen family is really strong. Just relying on their prestige, a nascent soul period was scared to kneel on the spot. How normal is this? Don't talk about a nascent soul period. I think even if it's the divine transformation period, he still kneels down, unless he doesn't want to live anymore. Whispered discussions kept ringing out. At this moment, Zhou Zan looked excited. Judging from the attitudes of the two members of the Chen family, it seemed that he was preparing to intervene in the affairs of the Zuxin Pavilion. If he was willing to keep the Zuxin Pavilion, no one would dare to take their ideas in the future. Chen Daozhen glanced at Shu Lin who was kneeling next to him, and then said calmly, no matter what your reasons are, I like this Zuxin Pavilion quite a bit, so don't make plans for it in the future. Hearing this sentence, Shu Lin trembled all over, and there was an unconcealable fear in his eyes. It turns out that Zuxin Pavilion has long been favored by the Chen family. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have dared to trouble Zuxin Pavilion even if he had 10 guts. Yes, it's the villain who is obsessed with ghosts. There is actually nothing wrong with the Zuxin Pavilion, but I just waited for the slander. Shu Lin hurriedly explained. His posture can be said to be extremely humble. Let's go back. Chen Daozhen retrieved the token he had lifted up, then stood up and walked outside. Lin Wanqing hurriedly followed, and the two left Zuxin Pavilion directly. Seeing that Chen Daozhen didn't continue to pursue the matter, Shu Lin was relieved and felt lucky for the own response. Fortunately, he didn't say anything too harsh at the beginning, and after knowing that the other party was from the Chen family, he didn't save face. Just kneel down. Otherwise, today's matter may not be so easy to escape. Zhou Xuanbin was going to go forward to thank Yifan Chen Daojun, but seeing him leave directly, he had no choice but to give up. He could only investigate the identity of the other party later, and went to thank Yifan in person. It is heard that many powerful forces in Xuantian City have surrendered to the Chen family. If their Zhou family can also submit to the Chen family, they will surely be on the rise in the future. Thinking of this, Zhou Zan smiled wryly. Their family's strength is really too weak. How could the Chen family value them? Such a thing as surrendering to the Chen family can only be thought about. Shu Lin stood up, and said with a smile on his face, "Shopkeeper Zhou, I'm really sorry, it was a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding." Zhou Zan didn't make fun of the thick-skinned Shu Lin. After all, the Shu family was behind him, so it was still not something Zhou Nang could offend. Snort. After a cold snort, Zhou Zan turned around and left. Shu Lin was not embarrassed either, and left Zaixianju directly with his second child, and went back to the Shu family to report. As for the other people in Zuxin Pavilion who started arguing about refunding the money, they are now a little embarrassed. They were originally with Shu Lin, and now that Shu Lin has left, it is certainly impossible for them to continue their arguing. I saw that they straightened the overturned table very consciously, went to the counter to pay, and left the Zuxin Pavilion directly. The process can be described as very embarrassing. And everyone in the Zuxin Pavilion also had extremely weird expressions. They didn't expect that this long-planned conspiracy would end so easily. Is this Zuxin Pavilion backed by the Chen family? It should be counted. People in the Chen family like this place. If anyone wants to destroy this place, it will definitely affect the mood of the Chen family. It must be equivalent to offending the other party in disguise. But who is this? Why have you never seen it? It's not that I haven't seen him, it's that we have almost never seen anyone from the Chen family. We are such small people who can't even enter the inner city, and want to meet the real members of the Chen family. This sentence makes no sense. In the Zuxin Pavilion, many people from other forces finished their meal in silence at this moment, and then went back to report what happened here. Inside Shu's house. The head of the Shu family is a middle-aged man with a tough appearance, and his face is extremely serious at this moment. Are you sure it's the purple jade pendant? Shu Lin immediately said. Patriarch, the color of the jade pendant will never be mistaken, it is purple. Hearing this, Shu Fangguang's expression turned extremely ugly. Shu Lin asked cautiously, Patriarch, what identity does this purple jade pendant represent? Shu Fangguang took a deep breath. The Chen family. Patriarch. What? Shu Lin's face was shocked. His expression was full of fear, his eyes widened, full of disbelief. This person is Chen Daojun who controls the Chen family. Thinking back now, Shu Lin felt his scalp tingling, as if he had walked through the gate of hell. Fortunately, I was a little more cautious, and I was unscrupulous without opening my mouth, otherwise I am afraid that there will be no tomorrow. Moreover, the entire Shu family will inevitably be implicated. Shu Fangguang's face was also extremely ugly, and there was worry in the depths of his eyes. The deeds of the Chen family are spread in Xuantian City, especially when it was named Meng City. The Chen family was decisive in killing all major forces. Although Shu Lin didn't do anything out of the ordinary, it could be regarded as contradicting the other party face to face. If the Chen family really wanted to care about it, it would really be a disaster for the Shu family. Shu Fangguang frowned. He really didn't expect that the Zuxin Pavilion could attract the Chen family. And he is also the head of the Chen family. It's outrageous, extremely outrageous. Sighing deeply, Shu Fangguang finally understood what it means to shoot the first bird. Xu Jiafei wanted to be a person who flipped the table by himself, and ended up encountering this kind of thing. In fact, any force can do the matter of smashing the Zuxin Pavilion, but he is the only one who is in a hurry and rushes ahead of all the forces. It turned out to be better now, and directly offended the Chen family in a disguised form. Of course, it doesn't count as offending the Chen family. It can only be said that it caused the Chen family's dissatisfaction. Fortunately, Shu Lin's last remedial measures were okay, and he bowed his head very quickly. With the current strength of the Chen family, they shouldn't care about them, right? Although Shu Fangguang can be sure that Chen Daojun should not care about it with a high probability, he is still extremely worried. Shu Fangguang thought for a long time, then stood up. Prepare some gifts, let's go to the inner city. Although the Chen family probably wouldn't trouble them, they still had to show their attitude, otherwise he couldn't feel at ease. Shu Lin quickly responded, yes. After hasty preparations, Shu Fangguang brought Shu Lin to the Chen family to make amends. 26%. Chapter 85. After a period of time, Xuantian City became quiet again, and nothing serious happened. And Chen Daojun was still as usual. He went to Zuxin Pavilion when he had nothing to do, and spent most of the time in Chen's house, enjoying Lin Wanqing's professional massage. After this little girl massaged a lot, her business skills became extremely proficient, and the massage became more and more comfortable. Now the tree of thorns in Qingxinyuan has grown to nearly 40 meters. Even outside the Chen family, one can see a huge tree inside the Chen family. Spiritual qi is constantly being born from the springs of the Ling qi, and now the entire Xuantian city, spiritual qi has reached the point of terror. And it will be superimposed every day, because Chen Daojun's Ling qi spring will be drawn almost once a day. Such continuous superposition makes Xuantian city change almost every day. Now not only in Xuantian city, but in the entire surrounding area for several miles, the spiritual qi has been greatly improved, and even exotic treasures are born from time to time. This means that the power of heavenly Tao is gathering towards this area. 10 days passed like this. Chen Daojun drew a total of 54 players from the indistinguishable Tao late stage, and 11 from the indistinguishable Tao stage returned to origin, but he still did not draw a strong player from the Mahayana stage. During these 10 days, Chen Daojun himself has also broken through to the void return period, and the cultivation base is improving by leaps and bounds every day. Time passed slowly. 15 more days passed. On this day, in Qingxin courtyard, a woman with outstanding temperament and graceful figure appeared in front of Chen Daojun. Zi, meet the patriarch. Chen Daojun looked at her, feeling extremely surprised that the system could still draw female characters. He thought they were all rough old men. And this time not only the female characters drawn, but also the strong ones in the Mahayana period. After 25 days, he finally got the Mahayana period. During these 25 days, the entire Xuantian city has undergone earth-shaking changes again. The overall spiritual qi has increased by nearly 10 times compared to the previous one. The outer city is okay, just a faint mist, but the inner city is extremely heaven-defying. It was so foggy that I couldn't even see the road. Get up, Chen Daojun said slowly. Zi heard the words and slowly stood up. She was dressed exactly like her name, wearing a long purple dress with a proud chest and a charming temperament, just like a stunner in the world. Compared with Lin Wanqing, she was a bit worse. Chen Daojun didn't stay too long on Zi's body, but looked towards the Chen family, and then slowly opened his mouth. Chen Yun Elder, the time has come, we can announce it. What is announced is naturally a matter of being king. Inside the Chen family, when Chen Yun heard the rumors in his mind, a serious expression appeared on his face. Soon, a piece of news instantly detonated the entire wasteland, and everyone couldn't help showing dumbfounded expressions after hearing the news. Xuantian city is now king. Name, Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty. Such a domineering name instantly shocked countless people. Divine Dynasty. This has a sense of sight that wants to dominate the wilderness. Xuantian city is too powerful now. There are several indistinguishable Dao stage return to origin exposed, and dozens of indistinguishable Dao late stage. Such a terrifying strength, even if many people are a little unhappy about it, they don't have much to say. But many people have to sneer. Are you king? This kind of thing is a bit too difficult. To put it bluntly, the former wasteland was just a corner, and the laws of heaven and earth were not strong, so there were no top powerhouses at all. But now in Xuantian city, the heavenly Dao law is too strong, surpassing many places in Zhongzhou. Even if the Chen family has a Mahayana stage powerhouse, it is not easy to dominate the wasteland, and there may be other powerhouses who want to get their hands on Xuantian city. But more people feel nothing. There is a high probability that the Chen family will have the Mahayana period, which is considered a powerful force in the entire celestial star realm. There is definitely no problem in being king, but it is very difficult to dominate the barren land. Many forces in the wasteland are collateral branches of the major ancient clans in Zhongzhou. If you want them to obey, you have to ask the ancient clans behind them whether they agree. Although these collateral lines cannot receive the blessing of the main family, they are from the same line anyway. When that time comes, the forces behind them will definitely jump out. Just when everyone thought that Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty was about to flex its muscles, he was unexpectedly calm. Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty has a total of 3 cities, namely Xuantian City, Wuyu City and White Cloud City. Among them, the imperial city is naturally Xuantian City. After announcing the establishment of the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty, the Chen family continued to build a dynasty system, then closely raised the imperial palace, and then began to select candidates for His Majesty. This person must be selected from the Chen family, but after choosing for a long time, no one in the Chen family has this talent. After all, they are a bunch of young people who know how to control the empire. And if this person is chosen from the summoned characters, he must choose the most powerful one. There was only Ziyi alone. Empress. Chen Daojun looked at the graceful figure in front of him, a different color flashed in his eyes. It seems that this is also good, very distinctive. Chen Daojun asked. Ziyi, are you willing to be His Majesty of the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty? Ziyi was taken aback for a moment, and seemed a little surprised by Chen Daojun's idea, but soon she nodded in response. Follow the orders of the Patriarch. Chen Daojun nodded in satisfaction. There is one strong Mahayana, which means there will be many Mahayanas in the future. In the entire celestial star realm, as long as the transcend tribulation period is not provoked in a short period of time, basically nothing will happen. After Jushao Divine Dynasty was established, what Chen Daojun did was still the same. He traveled around the mountains and rivers every day, and was just a pure hands-off shopkeeper. The lucky draw is successful. Congratulations on getting an invincible card. Invincible card. After using it, you can be invincible within 3 seconds. During this period of time, the host is immortal. Faced with any cultivator in realm, it is a one-hit kill. If the host encounters the threat of life and cannot be reversed, it will automatically use the card. The lottery is successful. Congratulations on getting 113 intermediate spirit pool springs. The lucky draw is successful. Congratulations on getting the heavenly rank magic treasures Zicheng Calabash. Zicheng Calabash. Wearing it on the body can quickly restore spirit power, and can fake death 3 times. After the 3 times, the Zicheng Calabash will be completely broken and cannot be repaired. Chen Daojun was stunned when he saw the prize draw this time. Invincible card. It was the first time he had drawn something so heaven-defying. Being invincible for 3 seconds, and killing everyone with one hit during this time, isn't this just casual? This invincible card is not just a one-hit kill, it is equivalent to raising one's own cultivation base to an extremely terrifying level in a short period of time, so terrifying that it can instantly kill anyone. Now let's go casually. 27%. Chapter 86 Megatron. Chen Daojun smiled. This invincible card gave him a full sense of security. Although it is only 3 seconds for a real man, if you really encounter an invincible enemy, 3 seconds is definitely enough to kill the opponent thousands of times. Chen Daojun has been nesting in the Qingxinyuan, rarely going out, and one of the main reasons is his insecurity. He is worried about meeting those opponents that he can't beat at all. But it doesn't matter now. There is also Zicheng Calabash's suspended animation, coupled with invincibility. Now there is no need to worry too much about own life safety. Early the next morning, Ziyi announced his enthronement and became the emperor of the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty. Almost all the prominent people in the wasteland came to congratulate him. The entire Xuantian city was full of voices. Boom. Suddenly, a shock resounded throughout Xuantian city, and everyone saw a resplendent imperial palace floating up from the ground, and finally fixed at the top of the inner city. The size of this imperial palace is almost 1/3 the size of the inner city. Hiss. Such a powerful formation fluctuation suspended the palace, and it turned out to be a heavenly rank formation master. The strength of the Chen family is really unfathomable, and there are heavenly rank formation masters. I think it's all good. What shocked me the most was the situation in Xuantian City. The richness of this spiritual qi is too outrageous, right? I haven't entered the inner city yet. This spiritual qi is more powerful than my family's secret realm is even more terrifying. A young man's eyes were full of shock, and he was dumbfounded. No, I heard that it is extremely difficult to settle in Xuantian City. It would be great if we found out the specific situation here more than 10 days earlier. Before it was rumored how powerful Xuantian City is, but I didn't pay attention to it. I thought how powerful a new city could be, but it turned out to be too outrageous. Missed opportunity, missed opportunity. Many people mourned, full of regret. Although Xuantian City was famous in the wilderness a long time ago, there are still many people who don't pay much attention to it, but they came to witness the establishment of the Divine Dynasty, only to find that Xuantian City is far more terrifying than they imagined. These days, the Lingqi spring that Chen Daojun pulled out has reached a terrifying figure. The spiritual qi born in the outer city every day has billions of low-grade spirit stones. These are billions of low-grade spirit stones. The key is that the entire Xuantian city is covered by formation, and the spiritual qi overflows very little, which causes the spiritual qi inside to always be superimposed. Chen Daojun is always drawing out the spring of the spiritual pool, and on the other hand, the spiritual qi is constantly accumulating, so it is very difficult for the spiritual qi to not be strong. After the dynasty was completely established, powerful auras shot up into the sky and dispersed in all directions. Here we go. Someone watched all this solemnly. When Jushao Divine Dynasty was established, there has been no movement. It must be because a big move is brewing, and now there is movement in Xuantian City, which happens to confirm everyone's guess. Those powerhouses who left Xuantian City almost all started in the indistinguishable Dao period, and they headed towards every corner of the wasteland. Yellowstone. An incomparably powerful aura descended instantly, enveloping the entire city. Countless people looked up at the figure in the sky in horror, not knowing what happened. I will be the heavenly feather guard of Jushao Divine Dynasty. Can Wangxi City be willing to belong to me and Jushao Divine Dynasty? The sound of violent drinking resounded in an instant, echoing throughout the whole world. This voice was like the power of the sky, which made people feel afraid. The strength of this Yellowstone city is very average. There are only 2 cultivators in the divine transformation stage, and the Tianyue is the most powerful combat force under the command of Jushao Divine Dynasty. Almost everyone has the strength in the indistinguishable stage. The lord of Wangxi City immediately knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "The villain is willing to follow." Their Yellowstone city's strength is very weak. No matter how they look at it, it is impossible to match Jushao Divine Dynasty, so surrender is the best way to deal with it. It's just that he didn't expect that Jushao Divine Dynasty would even be interested in their Yellowstone city. This place is relatively barren, and there is no value at all. At least there is no value that can attract more than the void return period. He couldn't even figure out why he didn't even let Yellowstone City go. But it doesn't matter. Surrender and Jushao Divine Dynasty have only advantages and no disadvantages for Wangxi City. Such things are happening in other places besides Yellowstone. In less than a day, nearly 1/3 of the map in the entire wasteland belonged to the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty, but many forces were shocked and frightened. They are all people who don't want to surrender, but Jushao Divine Dynasty's current strength is really too strong. If they don't agree, it is very likely that they will die. Lingyang City. Inside Shu's house. The core members of the Shu family were all sitting together, discussing the matter of Jushao Divine Dynasty. Patriarch, now that Heavenly Feather Guard is coming to our Lingyang City soon, what should we do? The Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty is really domineering. Could it be that they really think that the wasteland belongs to them? How? Do you want to inform my family? There are countless treasures in Xuantian City, and my family will definitely be interested. At that time, it may help us directly destroy this Jushao Divine Dynasty. Since the rise of Xuantian City, the entire barren region has undergone earth-shaking changes, and their Lingyang City has also been greatly weakened, and many forces have left directly to Xuantian City. For such a situation, they are also very helpless. After all, the legs are on other people's bodies, you can't tie them up and let them go. If Xuantian City continues to develop, the Shu family's living space will definitely be greatly reduced, and the current Jushao Divine Dynasty still has a tendency to directly dominate the wasteland, which is even more unacceptable to everyone in the Shu family. The head of the Shu family, who was sitting at the top, also frowned and said at this moment, "That's the only way to go. The strength of Xuantian City is unfathomable. There must be a Mahayana stage powerhouse behind it. If he is really allowed to dominate the wasteland, then what room do our families have to survive? I was kicked out from Zhongzhou, and now I have to encounter this kind of thing." The eldest elder of the Shu family said, "I went to Xuantian City a few days ago. The spiritual qi is so rich, it seems that it is because there are heavenly and mortal treasures that can give birth to spiritual qi, and the number is extremely large, so it is so rich. Spiritual qi, we can also report this matter, the family will definitely be tempted. At that time, even if they have the Mahayana stage, so what? Our Shu family is an ancient Zhongzhou clan, and there are several Mahayana stage experts among them. Is it possible that he is still afraid of the Chen family?" Shu Sis' words make sense. As long as the Chen family is destroyed, we might be able to gain some benefits from Xuantian City. That place is full of treasures. Ha ha ha, yes, this method is absolutely perfect. 27%. Chapter 87. Wait for me to be invincible. In addition to the Shu family, there are several other forces that are also silently contacting the people behind them. The existence of Jushao divine dynasty in Xuantian city has affected the interests of too many people. If it continues to develop like this, they can't even stay in the wasteland. Of course, if Jushao divine dynasty does not expand, many people can bear it. After all, they were all kicked out from Zhongzhou, and the collateral of the collateral, wanting to let the family take action against a Mahayana period force, the difficulty can be imagined. Xuantian City. Jushao Shrine. This is the name of the Jushao Divine Dynasty Palace. Since it was established here, the Chen family has naturally moved here. It's just that Jushao Shrine is an imperial palace after all, and their Chen family just occupies a corner. In Qingxin Courtyard, Chen Daojun looked into the distance. Now the Chen family is like the Nine Heavens Shrine, floating in the air. As the core of the Chen family, Qingxinyuan has an excellent view. Looking into the distance, the endless beautiful scenery comes into view, which is too beautiful to behold. This is the life that a cultivator should have. The lucky draw is successful. Congratulations on getting the heavenly rank Supervising Sky book. Supervising Sky illustrated book. It can monitor the aura of the strong within 500,000 miles. Below the transcend tribulation period, there is absolutely no possibility of hiding, and the level of monitoring the strong can be adjusted freely. The lucky draw is successful. Congratulations on getting the special effect of the transcend tribulation period, which can be reused 3 times. Special effects of transcend tribulation period. After using it, the host can imitate the momentum of transcend tribulation period, so that the fake ones can be confused with the real ones. Successful draw. Congratulations on winning the pill refining great completion. After use, it can be directly promoted to the 8th rank pill refining master. Chen Daojun was stunned as he looked at the rewards drawn out by the system. My system can still extract these things. He had always thought that the own system was not a lottery system at all, but a summoning system. It wasn't until now that these strange things were drawn out that Chen Daojun recalled that the own system is a lottery system. Yi Qing back. In comparison, the special effect of this transcend tribulation phase is obviously better than the effect of drawing out a Mahayana phase, and it can be used 3 times. Even when encountering those top-level Mahayana phases, just scaring him can directly scare him to pee. Very nice. Chen Daojun looked at the Supervising Sky illustrated book again. He waved his hand, and a faint rippling light curtain suddenly appeared in front of him. The illustrated book has an overview of a map with a radius of 500,000 li, and there are many small dots on it: white, black, green, red. According to the user manual of the illustrated book, this seems to be a cultivator representing each realm. White represents the Qi refining period. On the entire Supervising Sky illustrated book, there are so many small white dots that they almost completely cover up other colors. Chen Daojun directly cancelled the white color, and only monitored cultivators beyond the foundation establishment period. Without the Qi refining period, the entire Supervision illustrated book became much clearer in an instant, but there were still many small dots. Especially in Xuantian City, there are still countless black dots, which means that there are also a lot of cultivators in the foundation establishment period in Xuantian City. Chen Daojun turned off the monitoring of the foundation establishment period, and then went up one by one. The dots on the light curtain became less and less, and after the indistinguishable expired, he could only see some sparsely. But there are still quite a few in Xuantian City, and there are only a few gathered in other places occasionally. Chen Daojun added indistinguishable Dao's long-term monitoring relationship, and the entire light curtain suddenly became extremely clean, and the monitoring range of 500,000 miles could almost surround the entire barren land. However, Chen Daojun was extremely surprised that apart from the purple clothes from Xuantian City, there were other cultivators from the Mahayana period in the wasteland. It can be seen from the Supervising Sky illustrated book that there are still 2 spots of light in the barren area, one of which is a little dim, as if it will go out at any time. It should be the dying Mahayana period. The Supervising Sky illustrated book can not only monitor the strong, but also judge the strength and vitality of the opponent, etc. This thing is really good. After having him, he will know the movements of the whole barren land, and if a strong person enters the barren land, he will be able to know immediately. Good stuff. Chen Daojun showed joy, and hoped that the system could continue to be maintained, instead of always pulling out summoned characters, to bring some really good things. I have been pulling out summoned characters, and now the Chen family has a lot of indistinguishable Dao dates. Boom. Suddenly, the aura on Chen Daojun's body exploded, and the wind rushed in all directions. Back to the virtual middle stage. Chen Daojun didn't care about his own cultivation base. For him, breakthroughs were commonplace. From the side, he picked up the information recently reported by the Chen family, which recorded the recent laughing incidents of the Chen family. Among them, Chen Yi is already a nascent soul late stage, and the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce has spread all over Xuantian City. There are a total of 7, and there are many branches of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce in the major cities around. During this period of time, the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce has developed extremely fast, and it has faintly become the #1 chamber of commerce in the wasteland. The current Chen family, even without Chen Daojun's resource subsidies, the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce can provide it with a lot of resources. This made Chen Daojun more gratified. Chen Yi did not live up to his expectations. Chen Shang and Chen Jin's current Xuantian sect is also very hot, with nearly 3,000 disciples. Although the overall strength is average, the future is promising. After all, Chen Shang is only at the nascent soul stage return to origin. This is acceptable. If it weren't for the fact that he is a descendant of the Chen family, it is estimated that there are no more than 3,000 people now. Many forces want to join the Chen family, but because the Chen family doesn't like it, they directly send their children to Xuantian sect to practice, which can be regarded as joining in disguise. Chen family. After thinking for a moment, Chen Daojun said to Ziyi in Nine Heavens Shrine via sound transmission. Ziyi, when Jushao Divine Dynasty occupies about half of the wasteland, stop. Ziyi's soft voice immediately sounded in his mind, obey. The purpose of Chen Daojun doing this is very simple, to stop first, wait for Jushao Divine Dynasty to stabilize, and then continue to expand. If it is possible, Chen Daojun still wants to develop directly for a few years, and after he has accumulated countless whole cards, he will completely expose Jushao Divine Dynasty to the Celestial Star Realm. It's really good. In a few years, I guess I will be invincible. Thinking about it, I was a little excited. Now that the Chen family is on the right track, Jushao Divine Dynasty is also in charge of the characters he picked out, everything is in order, and Chen Daojun is relatively relaxed. Time passed slowly. 10 days passed in a blink of an eye. Chen Daojun's cultivation base has reached return to origin, one step away from indistinguishable Dao. Among the indistinguishable Dao stage return to origin that he drew, one broke through to the Mahayana stage within these 10 days, and he himself drew 2 Mahayana early stages, which is equivalent to 4 Mahayana stages for the Chen family. The current luck value of the Chen family has also directly increased to 120,000, starting from 90,000. After he draws the Mahayana period, the items in the system lottery will start to be more comprehensive, and only occasionally will he draw a summoning character. In most cases, it's magic treasures, medicine pill and the like. 27%. Chapter 88 Forceful Upgrade Card. Lingyang City. Inside Shu's house. On this day, the senior members of the Shu family gathered together again, and the patriarch of the Shu family asked eagerly, "How, is there a message from my family?" The big elder next to him had an ugly expression on his face, and he opened his mouth to speak several times, but he didn't say anything in the end. Patriarch Shu asked again, "If you have anything to say, just say it, don't hesitate." The elder hesitated for a moment, and said with an ugly face, "Patriarch, there have been 2 messages from my family. 1. Get out. 2. Others are at the Mahayana stage. Are you a trash? You can give birth to the treasure of spiritual chi. Spiritual chi has little effect on Mahayana stage and above. Don't try to mess with others." While talking, the big elder also imitated the tone, vividly. Patriarch Shu, "Just say it well, don't be so realistic, I'm already getting angry." The hall suddenly fell silent, and no one could speak a word. No one thought that my family would reject it so simply, without even the slightest thought about the Chen family. Outrageous, extremely outrageous. It seems that our family is not willing to offend a Mahayana cultivator at will. It may be because the treasure's allure is too small. Although the treasure that gave birth to spiritual chi is relatively rare, it's just that it's rare, and it doesn't mean it's precious. What can spiritual chi do? After the Mahayana stage, the most powerful killer move is the law of supernatural power, spiritual chi, which is only useful for realms below the Mahayana stage. Even the indistinguishable Dao stage, unless the number is extremely large, it will not be effective. In the following time, Chen Daojun almost always hid in Xuantian City, rarely going out. 3 months passed in a blink of an eye. The entire Xuantian City has also become extremely prosperous, gathering most of the powerhouses in the wasteland, and the outer city was expanded again a month ago, and the expansion area was about 3 times that of the original outer city. This move directly made Xuantian City the largest city in the wasteland. Even other surrounding cities, such as Wuyu City and White Cloud City, have become very lively, and the expansion of these two cities has nearly tripled. Jushao Divine Dynasty has 53 cities in total, occupying half of the entire wasteland, and there are as many strong ones as a cow's hair. In the front there is the Heavenly Feather Guard, and in the back there are the Sky Survey Army and the Sky Overwhelming Army. The Tianyu Guards are more personal guards, responsible for defending Xuantian City, and at the same time conveying orders to all parties on behalf of the Emperor. The characters in it are all summoned by Chen Daojun, and their strength is also the strongest. The starting point is indistinguishable Dao. And in the past 3 months, Chen Daojun has drawn 61 Mahayana sessions, including 35 Mahayana early stages, 17 Mahayana middle stages, 7 Mahayana late stages, and 2 Mahayana stages returned to origin. Half of them stayed in the Tianyu Guard, some were sent to Vientiane, and the rest were in the 2 legions. Many of the Sky Patrol Army and the Sky Overwhelming Army are outsiders. Of course, it is mainly based on cronies. Both the Sky Patrol Army and the Overwhelming Army are troops stationed outside, mainly responsible for defending against foreign enemies, including dealing with civil strife in the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty. But unfortunately, there is no chance for them to make a move. The people in Jushao Divine Dynasty, the cultivation base is really too common. 1 Mahayana period is enough to kill them all. How can they be used for the 2 major armies? It's unlikely that some bad things will be sent directly to him to suppress them. It's too unnecessary to kill a chicken with a sledgehammer. The point is that no one in the entire wasteland was dissatisfied with Jushao Divine Dynasty and came to offend them. Of course, the outside world does not know the true strength of Jushao Divine Dynasty, let alone the fact that the Mahayana in Jushao Divine Dynasty is already gone. During these 3 months, Chen Daojun also accumulated countless whole cards. The walls around Qingxinyuan are covered with treasures of heavenly rank. If this scene is seen by others, their jaws will probably drop in shock. The treasures of heavenly rank are in the outside world, and any one of them can cause a bloodbath, but in this Qingxinyuan, it seems to be like garbage. In Qingxin Courtyard, Chen Daojun frowned and closed his eyes. Dao Rime flowed around him, while Lin Wanqing watched quietly from a distance without saying a word. After a while, an explosion erupted, and Chen Daojun's aura instantly changed, becoming ethereal. There was always an inexplicable suction on him, as if it wanted to drag people's minds into it. Mahayana period. Breakthrough. Chen Daojun slowly opened his eyes, feeling the power in his body. His cultivation base was not cultivated by himself, but returned directly. Judging from what Zi told him before, it seems that during the Mahayana period, there will be own supernatural power, which is determined according to the own way. Chen Daojun didn't even understand what own Dao was, so he was very curious about it. An extremely strange force emerged, and Chen Daojun's eyes suddenly lost their color and turned into nothingness. The suction generated during the previous breakthrough resurfaced again, and became more ferocious. Lin Wanqing next to her felt as if she was going to be sucked in by those eyes, and she was restless. Soon, Chen Daojun opened his eyes again, and the eyes returned to normal. Devour. The power of own supernatural power turned out to be this, and this supernatural power can be regarded as a relatively rare and powerful supernatural power. The lucky draw is successful. Congratulations on getting 2 flash cards from the Mahayana period. Can kill any Mahayana period cultivator in seconds. Successful lottery. Congratulations for winning 900 mid-rank Spirit Pool Springs. Successful lottery draw. Congratulations on getting a powerful promotion card, permanent. Force brother to upgrade the card. Chen Daojun showed a bewildered look. In the past 3 months, he has drawn various props, such as the Mahayana Flash Kill card. He has drawn more than 10 of these things. But he was really confused about this powerful upgrade card. Chen Daojun clicked on the detailed introduction. The above description is extremely simple. Performance upgrade card. It can greatly improve your persuasion, walk with wind and lightning, help you surpass the sky, and become a generation of persuasion king. Chen Daojun. It's really concise. Whatever it is, use the facts first. Use. In an instant, Chen Daojun's whole body changed drastically, his body burst into light, and his eyes exuded divine light. At this moment, he was like a god, noble, sacred, and inviolable. Boom. Thunderclouds billowed in the sky, as if God was roaring. Countless people in Xuantian City looked up, their eyes full of doubts. Inner city. This is what happened. After a while, the thunderclouds dispersed, and the majestic glow shone from the sky, shining on the earth, and an incomparably majestic figure suddenly appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The man's eyes were squinting, like a god, and there was a stream of light all over his body. Who is this person? With such power, I'm afraid this is the Mahayana period behind Schwantian City. My god, he's so handsome. A girl looked at Chen Daojun's figure full of nympho. FK, patriarch of the Chen family, Chen Daojun, could it be that he is the Mahayana period? This person was originally from Dream River City, so he naturally knew Chen Daojun better than outsiders, but now he was dumbfounded when he found out that the other party was a Mahayana stage strongman. This person is actually the head of the Chen family. He is so handsome. I really want to marry him and have a baby with him. It seems to be played by him. Countless women's YY voices sounded. 28%. Chapter 89. They are all bad women. For that majestic figure, some people were shocked, some were full of admiration, and some women showed nympho. The Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty has continued to grow these days, and it has also attracted many people to join the royal family. They were all extremely excited when they saw this figure. This is the head of the Chen family, the big man behind Juxiao Divine Dynasty. In Qingxin Courtyard, Lin Wanqing looked at the figure in the sky with extremely hot eyes, and then lowered her head to look at the patriarch who was so close in front of her, wishing she could take off her clothes and go up to give him a loving hug. Looking at Chen Daojun's handsome cheek, Lin Wanqing felt an urge to lick it. Of course, it's not just the face. Every day, the patriarch and herself are as ordinary as water. Lin Wanqing's heart is itching, and she very much hopes that the patriarch will not treat her so politely. Thinking of this, Lin Wanqing's delicate body couldn't help trembling, her eyes were full of excitement and longing. At this time, Chen Daojun withdrew his extroverted aura, and his whole person returned to a slightly ordinary appearance, but compared to before, there was still a big gap. Just looking at him now, he has a mysterious and unpredictable sense of power, which makes people feel awe and dare not easily offend him. Compared with the introverted temperament before, there is a big difference. If he released his aura, he could randomly induce different visions to appear. Chen Daojun opened his eyes, then frowned suddenly, looked at Lin Wanqing at the side, and asked in a strange tone, "What are you doing?" At this moment, Lin Wanqing's whole body was trembling slightly, her expression was flushed, and her eyes were like autumn waves, just like when the feeling came. Seeing Chen Daojun looking straight at her, Lin Wanqing's face became even more rosy. She walked forward slowly, then knelt beside Chen Daojun, massaged him gently, and said in her mouth at the same time, "Fine." While speaking, Lin Wanqing's breathing also became rapid, like a kitten in heat. Chen Daojun frowned slightly. Lin Wanqing looked like he was having a massage, but she was almost stuck to him, and her hands and feet were dishonest. I almost said I wanted these 3 words. Chen Daojun raised his hand and gently stroked Lin Wanqing's head, her expression immediately became extremely satisfied. Chen Daojun. I don't know when, Lin Wanqing's psychology began to develop in some strange directions, and it became more and more serious. Looking at the stunner in front of him, Chen Daojun's desire to conquer was aroused, and his breathing became slightly heavier. Lin Wanqing seemed to have noticed this too, so Zhao Didi said, "Patriarch." That gentle and delicate voice seems to have infinite allure, making people unable to stop. It was also at this time that a voice sounded outside the door. "Speak to the patriarch, Ziyi begging to see you." The expression on Lin Wanqing's face froze for a moment, her eyes were full of displeasure, she obviously had a chance, damn its woman came to bother me. This is the closest she has come to success. If she doesn't come sooner or later, she will come here at this time. Chen Daojun withdrew his gaze and sorted out his emotions. "Come in." Lin Wanqing stood up quickly when she heard the words. She could do this in front of Chen Daojun, but definitely not when outsiders were present. A graceful figure in purple walked in. She was wearing a lavender robe with a dragon patterned with gold thread on it. Her whole body was full of heroism and charming. Ziyi knelt down and said, "Greetings to Patriarch." Chen Daojun nodded, and then directly threw out a bracelet, which is a high-rank storage treasures that can store living items. In the inner space of the bracelet, there are neatly arranged intermediate spirit pool springs, a total of more than 7,000, which is the amount stored in this month. According to the 3 million low-grade spirit stones born every day in the intermediate Lingqi spring, 7,000 is more than 70 billion low-grade spirit stones born every day. With such a huge amount, it is simply not too big to help the environment of the barren land. Chen Daojun said, "You can decide what to do with these springs of the spirit pool, just find a suitable place in the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty." The current spiritual qi in Xuantian City is too strong. If this continues, a mortal will not be able to see clearly when entering the city. Spiritual qi has completely turned into fog, especially in the inner city, which is even more terrifying. Looking down from the Nine Heavens shrine, the whole is covered in fog, and the inside is completely covered by the naked eye. Spiritual qi is so strong, it is very unnecessary and too wasteful to continue releasing the springs of the spirit pool in Xuantian City. Chen Daojun was thinking about whether to withdraw the spirit gathering formation in Xuantian City directly. Today, within 50 miles around Xuantian City, spiritual qi is already extremely strong, because the increase in spirit power has led to a better environment, which has also affected the law of heaven and earth in this area. Originally, the void returning stage could easily tear the void, but now it is obvious that it is much more difficult to tear the space during the void returning stage. Such an environment can increase the upper limit of the cultivator. Like the previous Dream River City, the nascent soul stage is considered the limit. If you want to break through the divine transformation stage, it is simply as difficult as sky high, and there is no possibility at all in the void return stage. But in Xuantian City now, anyone who is a decent talent in the divine transformation stage can break through. As for those geniuses or monsters, it is not difficult to break through the void return stage and indistinguishable Dao stage. As ordered, when Ziyi got the bracelet, she responded with a serious tone, but then her tone changed, and she asked charmingly, "Does the master need Ziyi to do other things?" Chen Daojun glanced at Ziyi and sighed in his heart, "Isn't there a normal woman by my side? Are you all greedy for me?" Not to mention Ziyi. He summoned two female characters later, both of whom had a kind of blind worship of him, wishing they could just swallow him alive. Chen Daojun waved his hands speechlessly. "Go down." Disappointment flashed across Ziyi's eyes, but he still said respectfully, "Obey." After speaking, she turned and left directly. Chen Daojun sighed, and then took out a messenger stone talisman, which could directly contact Chen Yuanliang. Chen Yuanliang, the human sector has almost expanded in the wasteland, so let's spread it to other places in the celestial realm, and spread the human spies all over the entire celestial realm as soon as possible. Perhaps it won't be long before Chen Daojun will continue to expand the Nine Heavens divine dynasty, so it is necessary to understand the situation of the celestial star realm in advance. Chen Yuanliang's voice sounded quickly. "Follow orders." Chen Daojun has no interest in the many intelligences in Wangyu nowadays, because they do not pose any threat to Jushao divine dynasty, they are all trivial matters. After Ziyi left, Lin Wanqing knelt down beside her without saying a word, and then gently massaged Chen Daojun. Chen Daojun looked down, then directly hugged Lin Wanqing and slapped her hard. "Be normal." Lin Wanqing was paralyzed in Chen Daojun's arms, trembling all over, and ran away shyly. Chen Daojun, 28%. Chapter 90 The Stubborn Xiao Tianren. Half a month passed. Jushao divine dynasty continued to expand in the wasteland, and finally only 5 cities remained unconquered. Haishan City, Pingding City, Rising Sun City, Qingjiao City, Xuanqing City. These 5 cities are the 5 most powerful cities in the wasteland. Sea Mountain City. City Lord's Mansion. Xiao Tianren frowned tightly, and the hall was full of senior officials of the City Lord's Mansion. "Everyone, this Jushao divine dynasty is unstoppable, who can do it?" When everyone in the hall heard the words, they all looked at each other in dismay. After a long silence, the person headed by the far left spoke slowly. "My lord, why not? Follow them. This Jushao divine dynasty is powerful. Not only does it have the Mahayana period, but it seems that there are at least 30 people in the indistinguishable Dao period. Our Haishan city is no match at all." Hearing this sentence, everyone else nodded. Their expressions were full of agreement, obviously agreeing with this statement very much. Xiao Tianren snorted coldly. "I know how to surrender. I, Xiao Tianren, am an indistinguishable Dao period returned to origin. Do you want me to surrender to them? Where do you want me to put my face?" Well, the people in the hall were speechless again, and they didn't know what to say to the very stubborn Xiao Tianren. Several of them had the idea of leaving Haishan City directly. Judging by the city lord's appearance, it seemed that they were going to meet Jushao divine dynasty for a while. They didn't want to die under Jushao divine dynasty's hands. After all, anyone with a discerning eye can see that Jushao divine dynasty is powerful, let alone one Haishan city, 3 or no opponents. Seeing that they were not talking, Xiao Tianren couldn't help but snort coldly. In an instant, an extremely powerful aura enveloped Haishan city, and the expressions of everyone in the hall changed. Coming. Xiao Tianren's face darkened. Now, the entire Haishan city did not become depressed because of being shrouded in this aura, but countless people among them were extremely excited. Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty is finally here. After waiting for them for a long time, I can finally join the organization. In the future, I will also be a citizen of Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty. By the way, the Lord of Haishan City really has no eyesight. Why didn't you join Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty early? I heard from my friend that after Wulin City took refuge early, now the spiritual qi in the city it becomes very rich, much better than our Haishan City. No, I used to think that the Lord of Haishan City was wise and powerful, but now it seems that he is a short-sighted person. I love the organization and the party. I will be in a hurry with anyone who dares to speak ill of Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty in the future. A group of people shouted excitedly, and they all looked up to the sky and shouted, "Love the motherland, love Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty." These days, the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty kept placing spirit pool springs in the major cities, which caused those cities that took refuge in advance to have an incomparably better environment, and the spiritual qi in the city was extremely strong. How can this make the people of Haishan City not jealous? Many of them have lived here for a long time, and their family businesses are all here, so it doesn't mean that they can leave, or they would have gone to Xuantian City long ago. Really not. White Cloud City and Wuyu City are also fine. Who would like to stay in a place like Haishan City, which is a place where birds don't shit? Yes, the once top-notch Haishan City has now become a place where everyone sees nothing. On Haishan City, a man in white clothes with a jade pendant with wings on his waist stared down. He said slowly, "My heavenly feather guard, Li Yun. Haishan City, are you willing to surrender to my Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty?" Haishan City, inside the city lord's mansion. Xiao Tianren's expression was dignified, and he didn't seem to want to surrender at all. The steward of the city lord's mansion beside him couldn't help persuading him. "My lord, Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty can't touch it head on, and you must never refuse the other party." Although Xiao Tianren was returned to origin at the indistinguishable Dao stage, it can be judged from Yue's aura this day that the opponent is also returned to origin at the indistinguishable Dao stage. Moreover, Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty doesn't only have one indistinguishable Dao period return to origin. How do you play with them? A few days ago when Tianyue went to subdue Lingyang City, the Shu family said something to think about it, and the big elder in the clan was directly killed on the spot. If it weren't for the Shu family's elder kneeling so fast, he might have died directly. Although Tianyue came to subdue him, he seemed to be amiable, but if you really dare to refuse, they will change their face faster than anything else, and they will change you to a city lord on the spot. Xiao Tianren snorted coldly, walked out of the city lord's mansion, and looked at Li Yun in the sky. Seeing this scene, the others could not help but sigh. Anyway, they didn't intend to go to Tianyue to confront the tough, and when the Lord City Lord dared to do something, they just knelt there. After Xiao Tianren walked out of the city lord's mansion, the aura on his body exploded like an angry lion. Li Yun narrowed his eyes immediately, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. Finally, he met someone who dared to resist them. In an instant, the void surged around him, and 3 auras also emerged. The auras on them were all extremely powerful, and they were all returned to origin realm of the indistinguishable Dao period. Seeing this scene, everyone in the city lord's mansion, except Xiao Tianren, couldn't help but tremble in their hearts, and almost knelt down. The 4 indistinguishable Dao period returned to origin. This is too scary. Many people in Haishan City also noticed something was wrong at this moment. The aura of the Lord City Lord is not right. Could it be that he is preparing to resist? The other party is Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty. He dares to do such a thing. No way. Is the City Lord so stupid? I'm really blind. Why didn't I find out that he is such a person before? Xiao Tianren dared to disobey my emperor and kill him. He is not worthy to be the lord of my Sea Mountain City at all. My Haishan City needs a more wise and powerful city lord. Killing this short-sighted traitor is really disgusting. Long live my emperor. Grooving. You guys are changing too fast. The whole Haishan City was in a state of boiling, and there were too many people who resisted the city lord's mansion for a while, and almost everyone accused Xiao Tianren loudly. Now, in front of the city lord's mansion, facing the 4 indistinguishable Dao stages returned to origin, Xiao Tianren was still fearless, and the aura on his body became stronger and stronger. The aura of return to origin from the 5 indistinguishable Dao periods lingered in the city, making the entire Haishan City extremely depressing. At this moment, Xiao Tianren knelt down on one knee, and his voice was like a bell. Xiao Tianren, I would like to lead Haishan City to submit to Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty. Li Yun. Everyone in Haishan City. Seeing Xiao Tianren's serious expression, all the senior officials in the city lord's mansion were also stunned. Where's your toughness? I thought you were going to fight with your appearance, but you just knelt down in the end. The reversal was too fast, and they were directly surrounded by them. Li Yun was also a little speechless. Seeing that Xiao Tianren was so strong, as if he wanted to resist them, he was ready to show the strength of Tianyue again, but it turned out to be a mess. 28%. Chapter 91 The Sky Thief. Xiao Tianren is not a fool. How could he not understand that Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty is no longer able to resist? How could he be so stupid as to confront them head on? But it's all about surrender anyway, and the more imposing surrender is obviously more handsome. He also wanted Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty to occupy Haishan City a long time ago. Ever since Xiao Tianren went to Xuantian City for the first time, he had an idea of wanting to move there directly. But after all, he was an indistinguishable Dao period return to origin, and it was somewhat embarrassing for this kind of thing to spread, so he endured it all the time. As early as before, Tianxinzong and Xuanji City had settled in Xuantian City, and they were all forces returned to origin during the indistinguishable Dao period. He is the only one who is still holding on until now, and has suffered a loss of face. Xiao Tianren wanted to wait until Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty occupied Haishan City before he moved directly to Xuantian City, but who knows that Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty has never done anything, which made him feel itchy. But it's okay now, I also joined the organization. Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty's strength is too strong, and its background is also very strong. The Chen family is even more unfathomable. Among them are Mahayana stage powerhouses. It is rumored that the Empress of the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty is also a Mahayana stage. Although it is not known whether it is true or not, only one Mahayana stage is enough. He is not at a disadvantage if he follows such a force. Xiao Tianren is also returned to origin in the indistinguishable Dao stage, so naturally he also has the idea of breaking through the Mahayana stage, and joining a Mahayana stage force. Maybe he can get guidance from the other party, which can greatly increase the probability of breakthrough. High in the air, Li Yun shook his head, and the figures beside him also took a deep look at Xiao Tianren, and then disappeared in place again. Li Yun waved his hand, and in the void above Haishan City, a mark of Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty was immediately marked, which means that from today onwards, this city will also belong to Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty. After doing all this, Li Yun didn't bother to talk nonsense, and just disappeared in place. Soon, Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty will send someone to take over the city. Occupying a city is definitely not just for fun. Generally, after the occupation, the royal family has two solutions. One is to send people to supervise, and the other is to directly send a city lord to take charge of many matters in the city, but judging from the current situation, the first is the majority. Only those cities that are not very willing to surrender, the royal family will choose the second option. Just like the Shu family in Lingyang City, they are a little dishonest at first glance. At the same time, Qingjiao City, Murong's family. In the depths of the family's inner courtyard, this is the forbidden area of the Murong family. No one is allowed to enter, even the head of the Murong family is not allowed to enter it without an order. Today, the heads of the Murong family, elder, knelt outside and shouted. Old ancestor, the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty is unstoppable. If you want to occupy our Qingjiao City, please go out and bless your ancestor. After finishing speaking, the group remained silent and waited quietly. After a long time, a boy with a fair face walked out. His face was full of vicissitudes that were quite different from his age. The young man exuded vitality all over his body, and his aura was unfathomable. Just standing there gave people an unparalleled sense of oppression, making people's breathing become oppressive. When everyone in Murong's family saw the young man, they all buried his head deeply, their expressions full of awe. Murong-kun stood with his hands behind his back, and said calmly, "Didn't I tell you not to call me for trivial matters? What happened?" Although Murong-kun's tone was flat, everyone in Murong's family could hear the displeasure in his tone. If the matter was not serious, the ancestor might still get angry. Murong Shuan swallowed his saliva, and quickly said, "Ancestor, the thing is like this. Recently, a force has appeared in the barren land. They are extremely powerful, and there are also Mahayana stage powerhouses behind them. This faction is called Zhuxiao Divine Dynasty. They are currently capturing major cities. Almost the entire wasteland has been taken by the opponent. If they continue to develop, They may soon come towards our Qingjiao city. It will definitely affect your closed-door training, ancestor. Hearing the word Mahayana, Marong Kun's eyes froze. If it's just the indistinguishable Tao period, he can naturally ignore it directly, but if it's the Mahayana period, it will be a bit difficult, and the other party is likely to find out what he has done. Marong Kun is a cultivator of the Mahayana period. He came to cultivate in such a barren place as the barren land, so he naturally had his purpose. Absorb the power of heavenly Tao. That's why he's here. Many years ago, he got a cultivation technique, which can directly devour the power of heavenly Tao. Of course, devouring seems a bit domineering, and more is actually stealing. Steal the power of heavenly Tao. This is also the reason why he left Zhongzhou and came to the wasteland to develop. The law of heavenly Tao in Zhongzhou is too strong. If he is caught in a Mahayana period, heavenly Tao will kill him directly, but the wasteland is different. The power of heavenly Tao here is much weaker. As long as you are careful, you will basically not be found. Over the years, he has been hiding in the wasteland and constantly stealing the power of heavenly Tao, which is of great help to his cultivation base, at least much better than staying in Zhongzhou. But if his affairs are known by a Mahayana period, it will be a great threat. Being able to steal the power of heavenly Tao, this kind of cultivation technique is considered extremely heaven-defying. It is hard for Marong Kun to imagine that the other party will not be tempted. And once it reaches the Mahayana stage, it is extremely difficult to kill. Even if the cultivation base is not as good as itself, it is very likely to escape. When the news of his cultivation technique gets out, it will surely make countless people envious. But there was a cold killing intent in Marong Kun's eyes. Swallowing a Mahayana period is much more efficient than slowly devouring the power of heavenly Tao here. The Mahayana period that can go to a place like the wasteland to develop will definitely not be too strong. After looking for a chance to kill, he might have a chance to break through Mahayana return to origin. More than 3,000 years ago, there was a Mahayana period in the wasteland. He designed to devour most of the opponent's power, but he escaped by luck in the end. Fortunately, his cultivation technique can not only steal other people's power, but can also be used as a marker to sense where the other party is. So all these years, he has not dared to completely devour the opponent's power, and always kept a part of it, just because he was worried that the person would not be able to sense it after leaving the wasteland. However, Marong Kun also sensed that the opponent's breath of life was getting weaker and weaker through the power that had not yet been swallowed. Obviously time was running out. Marong Kun took a deep breath, and continued to speak. Tell me everything you know. Marong Xuan immediately told the whole story about Jushao divine dynasty and the Chen family. After listening to the whole process, the coldness in Marong Kun's expression became more intense. This Chen family must be eliminated, otherwise it will definitely affect his cultivation sooner or later. Judging from his estimation, the Mahayana stage that exists in the Chen family is at most the Mahayana early stage, and it should not be too strong, otherwise it would never be possible to come to the barren land. I am not only a Mahayana late stage, but also assisted by the cultivation technique, and various other means of accumulation. I don't believe it, I still can't take you down. 1. 29%. Chapter 92 3 Mahayana late stages. Marong Kun said slowly. Let's go to Xuantian City and meet the Chen family for a while. Hearing this sentence, everyone in Marong's family looked ecstatic. Is the ancestor finally going to make a move? Their Marong's family obviously had a Mahayana period, but the ancestors always told them not to reveal half of it, which made them not live comfortably in the wasteland these years. Because there are many forces with similar strength to them. But this time the ancestor made a move, and other forces would not dare to be so presumptuous after knowing that the Marong family has a Mahayana period. Is our Marong family finally going to stand up? Marong Xuan's expression was full of excitement. At this moment, an extremely powerful aura instantly enveloped the entire Qingjiao city, and the expressions of Marong Xuan and others changed suddenly. Immediately afterwards, they looked at the ancestor of the Marong family in front, and they were relieved. As long as the ancestor is around, nothing will happen. Marong Xuan also sneered. Indistinguishable Tao period returned to origin. The owner of that breath is naturally a member of Tianyue. He spoke slowly, his voice spread throughout Qingjiao City. I'm going down to Tianyue, Chen Mu. Qingjiao City, are you willing to submit to me, Jushao divine dynasty? The reaction of the people in Qingjiao City was almost the same as that in Haishan City. Everyone was very excited and shouted to join the organization. It's no wonder they think so. The main reason is that the current Nine Heavens divine dynasty is so powerful that other forces can't resist it. The second is a sense of novelty. They have never experienced being unified, and they are still a dynastic force. And judging from those unified cities, it seems that being under the command of Jushao divine dynasty has a lot of benefits, such as the opportunity to join the Sky Overwhelming Army and the Sky Surveying Army. The strength of these two legions is extremely powerful. Although everyone is not particularly familiar with it, from the current understanding, both of them have many indistinguishable Dao period return to origin cultivators. Moreover, joining the two major legions can also obtain extremely rich resources. And to become a citizen of Jushao divine dynasty, there is also a security guarantee, being protected by a powerful force in the Mahayana period, full of security. Although those intrigues, murder and arson were still unavoidable, but at least someone stood in front of the demon sect massacring the city and the demon clan invading. For most forces, submitting to Jushao divine dynasty has only advantages and no disadvantages. After all, isn't it the same to surrender to anyone? It is obviously much better to be able to submit to a more powerful force. Above Qingzhou City, after Chen Mu finished speaking, he waited quietly. Suddenly, an extremely tyrannical breath enveloped him instantly. Chen Mu suddenly felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, and his whole body stood upside down. Under this breath, he was like an ant, who would be crushed to death easily. Murong Kun's figure slowly walked out of the void. He sneered, "Tianyue, take me to meet the person behind you." After speaking, he released Chen Mu's restriction. But Chen Mu didn't take any action, just looked at him calmly. Mahayana period, I never thought Qingzhou City would hide such a strong man. Murong Kun frowned, an indistinguishable mature ant dared to look at himself with such eyes. But considering the Mahayana period behind the other party, he just said in a cold tone, "Do you want to die?" Chen Mu still didn't answer, just asked lightly, "Aren't you going to surrender to me, Jushao divine dynasty?" Hearing this sentence, Murong Kun laughed angrily. Are the people in Jushao divine dynasty all fools? An indistinguishable Dao dared to talk to him like Mahayana, or did he feel that he could be unscrupulous because he had Mahayana's backing behind him? Murong Kun took a deep breath, his patience was exhausted, and his eyes were full of murderous intent. That being the case, then I will go to the door myself. Thinking to himself, Murong Kun waved his hand, ready to kill Chen Mu directly. Suddenly, a more powerful force struck from a distance. This aura was far beyond the scope of the indistinguishable Dao stage. It was a Mahayana stage powerhouse, and this aura instantly enveloped Murong Kun. Murong Kun narrowed his eyes, and his eyes were full of seriousness. I didn't expect to find it by myself. Seems just Mahayana early stage. Murong Kun's eyes suddenly shone with a cold light. With such strength, as long as he was prepared a little in advance, he would definitely be able to kill him. Just as he was contemplating how to kill the opponent, another breath erupted in the distance. Murong Kun's pupils shrank suddenly, his eyes were full of solemnity. Another breath of the Mahayana period. 2 Mahayana periods. This is not easy to deal with. If it is 1 Mahayana stage, he must be confident that he can kill it, but if it is 2 Mahayana stages, it is a bit difficult to deal with. Even if he is not afraid of 2 people, it is difficult to kill them at the same time. At this moment, Chen Mu took out a piece of jade and said to it, "Qingzhou City has a Mahayana period and is unwilling to surrender." After the voice fell, Chen Mu immediately backed away. And the 2 Mahayana phases attacking from a distance, could not help but kill Murong Kun directly. In an instant, the entire world was filled with extremely hot flames, stretching for dozens of miles, and the extremely violent temperature made the entire Qingzhou City feel extremely painful. In the surrounding mountains and forests, fierce fires were directly ignited. This is the Mahayana period. Even if it is only the Mahayana early stage, the residual power alone is enough to influence countless people. Murong Kun's eyes widened, and he panted suddenly with anger in his heart. The 2 of them actually came up and started fighting. Do you think that 2 Mahayana early stages can kill him? I am Mahayana late stage. The aura on his body rose instantly, and the incomparably powerful power directly enveloped him. Everyone in the entire Qingzhou City was unable to move under this powerful aura. It's the Mahayana period. There are 3 breaths of the Mahayana stage. When did our barren land have so many Mahayana stage powerhouses? The battle between the Mahayana period. Hurry up, the aftermath of these strong men can kill us thousands of times. Just now that Mahayana just hit casually, and there was a sea of flames dozens of miles away. If this is a full-scale fight, can their Qingjiao city still exist? It is estimated that it was pushed directly. Everyone in Qingjiao city ran out of the city with terrified faces, not daring to continue watching the battle. But many indistinguishable Dao powerhouses are secretly observing. Among them, everyone in Marong's family is extremely excited. The ancestor is going to show off his power. At this moment, a huge gap opened in the sky, and several auras similar to Marong Kun's aura emanated from it. The gap continued to widen, and eventually shrouding the heavens covered the sun, as if the entire sky had been torn apart. Immediately afterwards, 3 figures walked out of it. All of them exuded a powerful aura, and supernatural power Dao Rime flowed all over their bodies. The momentum on Marong Kun's body froze, his pupils shrank sharply, full of horror. This is 3 Mahayana late stages. 29%. Chapter 93 Marong Shuan. 3 Mahayana late stage, plus 2 Mahayana early stage. This is a total of 5 Mahayana stages. Even in Zhongzhou, it can be regarded as a strong force. Why did such a powerful force appear in the wasteland? Birds in this wasteland don't shit. What can attract such a strong person? I've been doing closed-door training these years. What happened to the outside world? Looking at the 3 Shunyangs above, Marong Kun's intestines were full of regret. I admit it was a bit loud just now. Please listen to my explanation. Marong Kun swallowed, cupped hands and said, I've seen a few fellow Taoists, I just misunderstood. Misunderstand? I don't think there was a misunderstanding. A voice echoed between heaven and earth. He came from all directions, and seemed to come from the ear. Not good. The moment he heard this voice, Marong Kun was shocked. His eyes were full of horror. There is even a 6th Mahayana period, and he is also a formation teacher. The voice sounded again. It's late. All of a sudden, a formation appeared instantly, enveloping him, and it exuded a world-shattering wave. Marong Kun shouted, Listen to my explanation. But before he finished speaking, the voice completely disappeared. The owner of the voice slowly walked out of the void. It was a white-haired old man. When he raised his hand, 3 jade plaques appeared in front of him. 3. You can go in directly with this token, and you can ignore the bombardment of formation. With this killing array alone, you may almost kill this Mahayana late stage. The 3 nodded, raised their hands and took the 3 jade tokens into their hands, then entered the formation. Countless people in Qingjiao city looked up at the incomparably terrifying aura. Mahayana period, so much. Are these all the Mahayana periods of the 9 heavens divine dynasty? My God, this is impossible. There is one Mahayana period that is so powerful. What if there are several Mahayana periods? Don't say it. I love Jushao divine dynasty, and he will be my motherland from now on. Now, many indistinguishable Dao in Qingjiao city have very dignified expressions. People with lower realm naturally can't understand the situation. Of course, they can't understand it either, but they can roughly judge it. These new Mahayanas are definitely members of Jushao divine dynasty. The Mahayana who appeared at the beginning should be the strong of the Marong family, right? There have been rumors before that the Marong family has a Mahayana period, but it has not been confirmed. But the Marong family is indeed the only one in Qingjiao city that may have a Mahayana period. Their eyes were fixed on the sky. The strength of the Jushao divine dynasty must be too strong. There are 7 strong men in the Mahayana period. The entire Qingjiao city fell into dead silence at this moment, and everyone looked at the sky with disbelieving eyes, and there were already monstrous waves in their hearts. The ones who are most terrified now are the members of the Marong family. Their eyes are full of fear. FK. Uncomfortable. I thought it was the Marong family showing their supernatural power, but I didn't expect this Jushao divine dynasty to be so powerful. Now that there are 7 Mahayana periods, isn't the ancestor completely cold? Marong Shuan blamed himself very much in his heart. He went to wake up the ancestor by himself, otherwise he would not have encountered such a thing. In his eyes, Marong Kun was almost certain to die. The other party's Mahayana period is too much, and now he is trapped by formation. No matter how he looks at it, it is difficult to survive, and the entire Marong family may be implicated. Marong Shuan had many thoughts in his mind. If the ancestor died, what would the Marong family do? Also follow the heroic death. This is impossible. It's definitely not my style. Marong Shuan's eyes were fixed. As long as the ancestor dies, I will immediately kneel down to Jushao divine dynasty and submit to them. If they don't know that the ancestor is a member of their Marong family, that's of course the best. But even if they are aware of it, they can get rid of the matter. The ancestor is in the Mahayana period, and the Marong family doesn't care what he wants to do. Although Morong-kun is the ancestor of the Morong family, he seldom helps the Morong family. Their family has existed in the wasteland for nearly 4,000 years, but the ancestor has been out of the inner courtyard twice. Such an ancestor, to be honest, is dispensable. Morong Shuan still has some resentment in his heart. He has broken through the indistinguishable Dao stage and returned to origin for nearly 1,000 years, and he has gone to see the ancestor many times, hoping to give pointers to break through the Mahayana stage. But the ancestor turned a blind eye, never responded, and even told him to be quiet and avoid going out to show his face, which also made Morong Shuan hardly known by many people in the wasteland. Reasonable, what is the use of him? Thinking to himself, Morong Shuan seemed to have found an excuse, and he no longer had any worries. Instead, he still hopes that the ancestor will die directly, and don't let him run away. At that time, I will follow Jushao Divine Dynasty wholeheartedly. They have so many Mahayana periods, and my requirements are not high. I will follow them for a few hundred years, and then guide me to break through the Mahayana period. This request is not too much, right? The big deal is that I will work harder these 100 years. Doable, very doable. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Morong Shuan's eyes were full of anticipation. Patriarch, hurry up and die, stop struggling. Morong Shuan was really afraid that the ancestor would run away. He will definitely submit to Jushao Divine Dynasty when the time comes. If the ancestor runs away and knows about it, it is equivalent to adding an enemy of the Mahayana period to the Morong family invisibly. Although Morong Shuan and Morong-kun hardly communicated much, he could feel that Morong-kun was very indifferent to Morong's family and didn't take it seriously. If it really develops like that, Morong-kun will definitely find an opportunity to destroy the Morong family, even if the Morong family is his descendant. At least that's a high probability possibility. At this moment, an explosion echoed between the sky and the earth. Countless people with lower cultivation base covered their ears with pained faces, and some even rolled all over the ground. Is this the battle of the Mahayana period? This loud sound is not even considered as the aftermath, and the formation should have cut off most of the volume, but even so, it has already made them feel so uncomfortable. If the formation is untied, the entire Qingzhou city will probably be torn apart by the aftermath in an instant powder. Only the cultivator who was above the void return period had a slightly normal complexion and was not affected by the sound. Bang, bang, 2 explosions erupted again, and the formation directly cracked a big hole, and then it collapsed completely like a mirror shattered. There was incomparable horror in everyone's eyes. The formations planted by the heavenly rank formation master were all shattered. I saw 3 figures standing proudly in the sky, and the other Mahayana had disappeared, which meant that the other party had fallen. Silence. Deathly silence. Everyone in Qingzhou city witnessed the fall of a Mahayana period. Many people even feel scalp numbness. Is this the consequence of violating Jushao Divine Dynasty? Even during the Mahayana period, it can be killed. Inside Morong's house, many people looked terrified and extremely sad. Old ancestor unexpectedly fell. Their eyes were gloomy, as if they had lost their souls, and they couldn't even stand up. But Morong Shuan's face was full of joy. Good to die. But no matter what, it was their own ancestor who died, so they had to pretend to be very sad. So Morong Shuan forced a crying and smiling expression on his face, but soon he found that the big elder beside him also had a weird expression. Kind of like laughing. Not only him, but everyone around him seemed to be like this, with extremely weird expressions. Especially those staggering people. Although their expressions were gloomy, the smiles at the corners of their mouths could not be hidden at all. FK. You unworthy descendants. 3. 29%. Chapter 94. 3 years later. After finishing Morong-kun, Chen Mu's figure reappeared, and he looked coldly in the direction of Morong's house. Before coming, the higher-ups had explained that there was a Mahayana period in Qingzhou city, so he was already mentally prepared. In Qingzhou city, seeing Chen Mu looking towards him, Morong Shuan knelt down without hesitation, and at the same time shouted loudly, "The Morong family is willing to lead Qingzhou city to Jushao Divine Dynasty." Hearing this, Chen Mu withdrew his eyes and looked at the void above Qingzhou city. From now on, this city will also be within the sphere of influence of Jushao Divine Dynasty. Of course he knew that this Mahayana period belonged to Morong's family, but Chen Mu didn't bother to care about it. He just needed to complete the things ordered by his superiors. As for whether he will come to Morong's family to settle accounts later, it has nothing to do with him. In less than a day, Jushao Divine Dynasty took the entire wasteland into its pocket with lightning speed. The logo of the Nine Heavens Divine Dynasty was posted all over the cities in the entire wasteland. Everyone witnessed a historic scene. The barren land was unified, something that had never happened before, but happened today. The latest information shows that Jushao Divine Dynasty has dominated the barren land, and all the information about Jushao Divine Dynasty has been overthrown. This divine dynasty has more than one Mahayana stage powerhouse, and they have a full 6 or 7 Mahayana stage. Impossible. Where did Jushao Divine Dynasty come from so many Mahayana periods? Don't believe it. This news came from Qingzhou City, and everyone there saw it. When Jushao Divine Dynasty went to conquer Qingzhou City, there was a Mahayana to block it, and Jushao Divine Dynasty came out directly 6 or 7, and I heard that there are 3 Mahayana late stages, and the Mahayana late stage of Qingzhou City was killed on the spot. What? Exclamations continued to ring out, and many people were shocked by the news. 7 or 8 Mahayana periods, such a force is too powerful, right? This is completely a dimensionality reduction blow. The cultivator indistinguishable Tao phase of Wangyu, return to origin, is no longer good enough. Any random Mahayana phase can actually dominate Wangyu at will. As a result, the Jushao Divine Dynasty actually has a few figures. How do you play this? Many forces had lingering fears. Fortunately, they didn't resist, otherwise the grass on the grave would be 3 meters high next year. After Jushao Divine Dynasty dominated the wasteland, there were no other actions, and everything was proceeding in an orderly manner. Using an extremely large spiritual pool spring, the heavenly Tao law in the barren area is also continuously strengthened, and the increase in the concentration of spiritual qi will naturally feed back the heaven and the earth. The concentration of spiritual qi in the entire barren area has almost doubled, and there are only a few remote places where the concentration of spiritual qi has not increased significantly. Time passed slowly. 3 more years passed like this. In the past 3 years, the size of Xuantian City has increased by nearly 3 times its original size. The entire wasteland has not changed much, and it is not much different from before. Since the unification of Jushao Divine Dynasty, there has been no other major moves. But the people in the wasteland have now adapted to the feeling of being ruled by the Jushao Divine Dynasty, and after slowly brainwashing, they have a basic sense of recognition and a sense of big family for the Divine Dynasty. In 3 years, the spiritual qi of Wangyu's world has reached about 6 times its original size, and it is already approaching Zhongzhou. Xuantian City. Jushao Shrine. The Chen family, in Qingxin Courtyard. Today, the entire Qingshan temple is shrouded in a mass of formation, or the entire Nine Heavens Shrine is shrouded in formation, isolating the inside and outside, and outsiders can't even see the appearance of the shrine when they look towards the shrine. Almost all the people who can enter and leave the Jushao Shrine are the Chen family, or the summoned characters of Chen Daojun, and no one else can enter. In 3 years, Nine Heavens Shrine has also changed a lot. It was originally just one huge palace, but now there are a total of 13 palaces, each of which is extremely huge, floated in the sky by formation, and connected together with huge silver iron chains, looking extremely spectacular. These 13 palaces represent the various departments of Jushao Divine Dynasty and deal with matters. For example, the Sky Patrol Army and the Ground Overthrow Army each handle government affairs in one of the palaces. In addition to this, there is also the Supervising Heaven Division, which is mainly responsible for detecting the big and small things in the entire Jushao Divine Dynasty, and there are other newly established departments. In Qingxin Courtyard, Chen Daojun opened his eyes, and there were rays of light in them. The aura on his body is also extremely powerful, even if he was in the Mahayana period. Compared with this aura, there is a huge gap, the difference between cloud and mud. The thorn trees in Qingshan temple grow extremely densely, almost covering the entire Nine Heavens Shrine in it. If you remove the dense fog that covers the shrine, you can see that the surroundings of the shrine have already been covered by strong trees tens of meters wide. The branches are wrapped. In 3 years, the tree of thorns has broken through the mortal rank and become the demonic beasts of immortal rank. Above the transcend tribulation period, immortal rank. In the backyard of Qingshinyuan, there are extremely exquisite Lingqi springs. The milky white liquid flowing out of them is extremely pure. Just smelling it seems to be able to cleanse people's spirits. This is the top-grade spiritual pool spring, and all the power gushing out of it is immortal power. As for the entire Jushao Shrine, including the 13 palaces connected to him, almost all of them are filled with top-grade spiritual pool springs. Lin Wanqing's eyes were full of shock. Patriarch, what kind of realm are you? Chen Daojun showed a mysterious smile. Guess. How could Lin Wanqing guess it? Anyway, a long time ago, Chen Daojun said that he had already broken through the transcend tribulation period, and that was more than 2 years ago. Now that so much time has passed, Lin Wanqing has completely lost sight of it. In the past 3 years, her progress has been very fast, and now she has broken through to the indistinguishable Dao stage return to origin, which is not far from the Mahayana stage. Such a speed is almost completely beyond Lin Wanqing's cognition. She never thought that she would be able to break through to this realm one day. Chen Daojun took a deep breath, with a cheerful smile on his face. After 3 years, now I gradually feel safe. Chen Daojun opened the system panel. Influence: Chen family. Current staff: 31,982 people. Luck value: 1.135 billion. Omitted later. Lottery level: 178. The descendants of the Chen family: 39 people. In the past 3 years, more than a dozen newborns have been born in the Chen family, but because the number of direct descendants is too small, the growth rate is not fast. But the members of the Chen family's forces grew extremely rapidly. Of course, the main reason is that there are too many summoned characters. On the surface, Divine Dynasty is just a stage with a few Mahayanas, but in fact, the immortal cultivator has already run all over the place. Chen Daojun did not calculate the details, but roughly estimated that there are at least 1,000 cultivators in the transcend tribulation period. The conversion seems to be more and more complicated at the end. After drawing 5 Mahayana early stages at the beginning, you can almost draw a middle stage, but after the transcend tribulation period, you basically need to draw dozens of early stages before you can draw a middle stage. The transcend tribulation late stage even draws hundreds of them, and the luck value is increased to be able to draw the transcend tribulation period return to origin. The Chen family currently has about 40,000 people, more than 30,000 of them are immortal cultivators, and this is only 3 years of his success. Chen Daojun can only say that the system is on. He didn't feel this way before, maybe because he just traveled through time. He felt that there were things to deal with every day, and the time was a little too tight. After slowing down the pace now, I realized that this system seems to be 10,000 times more perverted than imagined. 1. 30%. Chapter 95 Crystallization of Wisdom. Originally, Chen Daojun planned to conquer Zhongzhou directly, and then dominate the entire celestial star realm. But now that I think about it, what's the point? How can anyone stay at home and upgrade secretly? Only a few years have passed. For a powerful cultivator, the time of Qinba 100 years has passed in the blink of an eye, and there is no need for me to worry. 3 years has allowed him to grow so big. If it takes another 3 years, wouldn't he be directly invincible? But the barren land has undergone tremendous changes in the past 3 years, causing many forces in Zhongzhou to pay attention to it. In the recent period alone, Chen Daojun has discovered several transcend tribulation auras coming towards the barren area. It is estimated that it will not be long before they will start. But Chen Daojun looked extremely indifferent. He has no interest in these transcend tribulation periods at all. If it was him before, he might still be worried, but now. Chen Daojun couldn't help shaking his head. It's just a bunch of ants. If he really wanted to, a cup of tea could directly push the entire Zhongzhou across. Suddenly, more than a dozen powerful breaths erupted from outside the barren area, and then came directly towards the barren area, each of which shook the sky and the earth. Chen Daojun frowned. This is it. Now, with the burst of aura, everyone in the entire wasteland panicked. This is Mahayana strong. No, this is Mahayana above. How come there are so many powerful people in the wasteland at once? Could it be that they also have their eyes on this place? Can Jushao Divine Dynasty resist these people? I'm afraid of the ball. As long as these people dare to invade my Jushao Divine Dynasty, I will have to fight them. At worst, it will be a death sentence. Thinking too much. Even if you die, it's not your turn. Jushao Divine Dynasty also has the Sky Survey Army and the Sky Overturning Army. Many people looked at the direction of the burst of breath with serious expressions, and they could judge that the cultivators in the Mahayana stage and Transcend Tribulation stage were almost all strong players above the Void Return stage. As for those people with lower realm, it is impossible to judge the specific strength at all. Anyway, they are very strong in their eyes. There were a total of 12 people who entered the wasteland. He is also a representative of the 12 top forces in Zhongzhou. Since 2 years ago, they have paid attention to the wasteland, and the heavenly Dao Law here has been continuously strengthened, and now it is completely similar to Zhongzhou, so all the major forces are a little bit greedy. However, there is a 9 heavens divine dynasty in this wasteland. They tried to find out through various methods, but they found that the other party was mysterious and unpredictable, and they had never heard of it before. Being able to occupy the wasteland with such a big fanfare and transform it to such an extent is enough to see the extraordinariness of this Nine Heavens divine dynasty, so they did not act rashly. Until a year ago, there was a transcend tribulation period that fell in the wasteland, and the cause of death was unknown. Without the slightest sign or trace of fighting, it just died so quietly. The forces after the transcend tribulation period also disappeared in Zhongzhou overnight, and the cultivators above the indistinguishable Dao period were almost wiped out, with none left. Although everyone doesn't know who killed it, but the fall of the transcend tribulation period in the wasteland must have something to do with the Nine Heavens divine dynasty. Since then, the major forces in Zhongzhou have become a little afraid. To be able to kill a transcend tribulation period so silently, this strength is a bit too terrifying. Everyone, let me tell you. I always feel depressed in this wasteland. According to our speculation, there must be a top expert here, maybe a half-step cultivator. You say we are full of momentum. If you are so arrogant, will you offend the other party, and then just slap me and let us die? An old man with a kind face suddenly said with a smile. And hearing this sentence, everyone's breath stagnated, and then they stopped in an instant, and stood there looking at him with some seriousness. This possibility is not impossible. While talking, several people looked around. It was okay not to say, but when they said it, they felt a little hairy behind, and always felt like they were being watched. And the old man with a kind face continued. Everyone, the wasteland is so vast, and if we want to raise the heavenly Tao law here to this level, I'm afraid we may not be able to do it together. Maybe the other party may be more terrifying than we imagined. Everyone looked at him speechlessly after hearing the words. Your tone of voice, as if it has nothing to do with you. If you offend the other party, all of us will die. At this time, one of the rough-faced men said seriously, Vice President Chen, didn't we agree to come and meet together? No matter what the situation of Jushao divine dynasty is, at least we must first understand it. His implication is very simple. Since everyone is here, don't say such words that disturb the morale of the army. You have clearly made up your mind, but you started to panic again when you said that. It took countless years for everyone to cultivate to the stage of transcend tribulation, and no one wanted to die here like this. A tall man with a calm and dignified face asked, Vice President, what do you want to express? Hearing this sentence, everyone looked towards the old man. The other party was Chen Wenxian, the vice president of the Boundless Academy. Transcend tribulation middle stage cultivation base, even in the entire Zhongzhou, can be regarded as a top powerhouse. Chen Wenxian laughed and said, Actually, I lied to you just now. There is no need for you to be so alarmed. I have specially sent someone to investigate the Jushao divine dynasty these days. The environment in the barren land can be transformed because they have a treasure that can give birth to the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, and the quantity is extremely large. So the old man guesses that it should have nothing to do with strength. As for the treasure that can give birth to the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, Jushao divine dynasty has a heavenly rank refiner. It shouldn't be difficult to refine it. As soon as this statement came out, doubts immediately sounded. Dean Chen, are there too many loopholes in what you said? Spiritual chi was not born out of thin air. The number of treasures that gave birth to spiritual chi is huge, so it must have cost a lot. Chen Wenxian couldn't help but shook his head and said, Zhang fellow Taoist, this statement is wrong. This wasteland is so vast, even if Nine Heavens divine dynasty has a half-step immortal cultivator, what good will it do them to refine so many treasures and put them in a big way? The old man thinks that the treasure that can give birth to spiritual chi should be a treasure that contains some kind of Tao rhyme law, so spiritual chi can be born continuously, and the difficulty of refining this treasure should not be too big. Also, if Jushao divine dynasty has a half-step human immortal cultivator, even if it is a top powerhouse in Zhongzhou, there should be no half-step human immortal cultivator in the entire celestial star realm, then the other party is the number one person in the celestial star realm. If so, why? To shrink back to the wilderness. That's why the old man thinks that this person's strength should not be too strong, and at most he is only in the transcend tribulation period. He is worried that after the treasure is exposed, he will not be able to keep it, so he ran to the wasteland. Speaking of this, Chen Wenxian's expression was full of confidence. This is the result of his hard thinking about meditation, and it is also the crystallization of his wisdom. Even if there are some deviations, it is not much different. 30%. Chapter 96 The 12th National Congress of the Transcend Tribulation. Hearing Chen Wenxian's words, they all showed approval. Well-founded and convincing. Zhou Chao suddenly asked. Dean Chen, since this is the case, what should we do? For this mysterious Jushao divine dynasty, they don't know what to do, so they urgently need someone who can give guidance. Chen Wenxian was silent for a moment, and then said confidently, I guess the strength of Jushao divine dynasty is at most the transcend tribulation period, but I don't know how many people there are, at least 4 transcend tribulation period, but no matter what, it is definitely not our combined many. Our plan remains the same, be stronger, put some pressure on Jushao divine dynasty, and then find out the truth. If the strength of Jushao divine dynasty is really strong, we will temporarily avoid the edge. If their strength is mediocre, this wasteland will naturally not be good. Maybe let him monopolize it, then we will join forces to force him to give up half of the area, and then I will divide it up. Hearing Chen Wenxian's words, the group of people fell silent. During the period of the 4 transcend tribulations, such a power is indeed a bit strong, and there is no power in Zhongzhou that has so many strong people. And still least. But this is also very reasonable. Now that Wang Yu has died a transcend tribulation period, he died so easily. If Jushao divine dynasty is of average strength, it is impossible to do it. They also didn't intend to be an enemy of Jushao divine dynasty, even if the opponent's strength was average, they didn't have such an idea. The battle between the transcend tribulation period is meaningless. After arriving in this realm, it is more about the perception of Tao to improve the realm, not just pure resources. As for the competition for this barren land, it is more for future generations. The potential of the wasteland is too high. In just a few years, there has been such a big growth, so they all want to occupy a place. Of course, this is only the thinking of some of them, and 2 or 3 of them have greedy eyes. It's hard not to be tempted to transform the entire barren land into such an appearance in a short period of time. After reaching the transcend tribulation period, it is very difficult to break through the cultivation base. This mysterious Jushao divine dynasty must have a treasure, which makes them a little bit excited. It's just that Jushao divine dynasty's mysteriousness makes them dare not act rashly now. The location of Jushao divine dynasty is not in the center of the barren area, but in the corner. As the transcend tribulation period goes deeper into the barren area, a group of people become more and more uneasy. I always feel like I'm being watched by some prehistoric beast. It was like being in a dark forest, surrounded by wild beasts, but there was nothing abnormal after inspection. More than a dozen Transcend Tribulation members came together, but the whole wasteland was surprisingly quiet, with almost no reaction. Who is coming? A shout sounded. Immediately afterwards, 3 soldiers in armor came from a distance. Their auras were extremely powerful, and they belonged to the Mahayana period. Sky Patrol. Chen Wenxian and the others paused in their footsteps, then walked up and said with a smile on their faces, the vice presidents of Kangmang College in Lower Central State, they are fellow Taoists, we are here to pay a visit to Jushao Divine Dynasty. They didn't despise the person in front of them because they were Mahayana period, but they were friendly. The soldiers of the Sky Survey Army said indifferently, the front is the 9 Heavens territory. If you want to enter, you must go through the formal procedures. You must first declare to the Divine Dynasty, and you can enter after you agree. 9 Heavens Divine Dynasty has undergone many adjustments in the past 3 years. The core area centered on Xuantian City was renamed 9 Heavens Domain, which included a total of 11 cities. If you want to enter the 9 Heavens Domain, you must declare it. This is to prevent some Devil Dao elements from mixing into it. The 9 Heavens Domain is guarded by the Sky Survey Army. If there is no identity card in random checks, and the person cannot be found in the Divine Dynasty file, they will be directly suppressed and killed. With this kind of operation, the safety index in Jushao domain will be greatly enhanced. But other than Jushaoyu, there are not many changes in other places. The smile on Chen Wenxian's face suddenly shrunk, and he looked at the soldiers of the Sky Survey Army with cold eyes. Give you a face. You are a Mahayana period. Who gave you the courage to talk to us, a group of Transcend Tribulation period? If he hadn't figured out the strength behind Jushao Divine Dynasty, Chen Wenxian would have slapped him to death. There are a total of 12 Transcend Tribulation period here, and they didn't come here low-key. Even if you Jushao Divine Dynasty didn't come to welcome us, you didn't even let us in. Apply for a fart. Believe it or not, it was directly overturned for you. Taking a deep breath, Chen Wenxian suppressed the anger in his heart. Little brother, I came here specially from Zhongzhou, can you accommodate me? The guard of the Sky Survey Army snorted coldly, and even faced the 12 transcend tribulations, he didn't feel the slightest fear. Instead, he said directly, "It doesn't matter where you come from. You must notify in advance, otherwise you will not be able to enter the Nine Heavens territory. Leave quickly, or don't blame me for being rude." Hearing this sentence, Chen Wenxian and the others were all furious in their hearts. This Jushao divine dynasty didn't give them any face at all. "I'm a transcend tribulation period." Chen Wenxian's expression was gloomy. "Little friend, we all came from thousands of miles to visit Jushao divine dynasty, so it might be a little too much for him to do so. The elder of Qiang Holy Land is named Qian Lin." At this moment, he snorted coldly and said, "The visitor is a guest. Is this how Jushao divine dynasty treats guests? I waited all the way here, and I was not even allowed to enter the house." Not only him, everyone else had angry expressions on their faces. Jushao divine dynasty was really defiant to him. They have thought that there are top powerhouses in the wasteland, but they never thought that they would be so ignored and they would not be to put in one's eyes at all. At this moment, the soldiers of the Sky Survey Army snorted coldly, "Are you also worthy to be my divine dynasty's guests?" The words were full of disregard for Chen Wenxian and others. "Presumptuous," Qian Lin shouted violently. As a transcend tribulation period, he also has his own dignity. With his roar, the atmosphere at the scene became a little dignified. "Who dares to come to my Nine Heavens divine dynasty to make trouble? Believe it or not, if your legs were broken." An extremely domineering voice came from a distance. When Qian Lin heard this, a murderous look appeared on his face. "Too much, really too much," Qian Lin roared. "He Fangshao." But before he finished speaking, an incomparably powerful aura rushed towards his face, making his voice pause, and he didn't dare to continue speaking. Transcend tribulation period return to origin. Jushao divine dynasty actually has such a strong man. Everyone's heart was shocked, and they dared not be careless to this Jushao divine dynasty. Transcend tribulation period return to origin is the top powerhouse in the celestial star realm. In the future, he can break through the modification of immortal ascension. Such a powerhouse cannot be provoked. Similar things have happened many times before. During the Transcend Tribulation period, before the cultivator returned to origin ascended, he directly killed his enemies all over. A smile appeared on Qinline's face immediately, and he looked in the direction of the source of the voice. "I've seen fellow Taoist. I was a little offended just now. We are from Zhongzhou, and we don't mean any harm. 30%. Chapter 97 Obey, Master." A rough figure instantly appeared in front of everyone, and he said in a cold voice, "Get out of here quickly. Don't make trouble here, or kill you. I don't care who you are. If you want to enter the Nine Heavens realm, you can go to Tianmen City to declare by yourself, and the result will be available in at most an hour. If you sneak in, you will be responsible for the consequences." Hearing this sentence, a group of people couldn't help but their eyelids twitched, but no one had an attack. Chen Wenxian and the others were silent for a while, and finally turned around and left, and the others followed after seeing this. This Nine Heavens divine dynasty didn't like them at all. Since that's the case, there's no need to put a hot face on a cold ass. And the Transcend Tribulation period return to origin is not the person at the helm. It seems that the previous guess has gone wrong. This Jushao divine dynasty should really be a cultivator of the immortal realm. After leaving the wasteland, Chen Wenxian did not speak, but left directly. Seeing this, the remaining 11 people couldn't help but sighed. It seemed that they hadn't made a fool of themselves in this wasteland. However, not long after they left, the four figures turned back again, and one of them was the vice president of the Boundless Academy, Chen Wenxian. The other three are the Zhou dynasty of Hengduan Mountain, and the great elder of Tianxing Holy Land and Qiang Holy Land. The four of them looked at each other with a gloomy look on their faces. Chen Wenxian asked with a normal expression, "Qinline fellow Taoist, how is the investigation going?" Qian Lin's expression was extremely serious, and he hesitated for a while before taking out a piece of feng shui compass, but there were already many red marks on it, roughly hundreds of them. This Jushao divine dynasty is a bit different. Every red dot here represents a transcend tribulation period. There are a total of 113 transcend tribulation period experts. And we haven't gone deep into the core of the Jushao divine dynasty. There will definitely be more transcend tribulation periods. Chen Wenxian's expression changed drastically, and he asked solemnly, "You sure?" Qinline nodded heavily. Hiss. The sound of gasping for air immediately sounded, and no one thought that there would be so many transcend tribulation periods of the Jushao divine dynasty. More than 100 people. And it doesn't even count those in the nine heavens territory. If it is added, there are at least 200 people, right? When did the celestial star realm have so many transcend tribulation periods? Zhou Chao asked at this moment. How? What should I do now? Should I report it? There are so many transcend tribulation periods that we can no longer solve. Even if our four major powers join forces, they cannot be their opponents. Keeping this Jushao divine dynasty will definitely affect the plan of that adult in the future. Quote. Li Zan's eyes of the heavenly Xing Holy Land were cold. Although I don't know why there are so many transcend tribulation periods in this nine heavens divine dynasty, but the more cultivators in the celestial star realm, it will only help us even more. After all, we are all working for that adult. He eats meat, and we just drink soup. The bigger the pot, the more soup will be left. Even though Jushao divine dynasty's transcend tribulation period is long, his face is still not the slightest fear, but a little excited. Chen Wenxian said, this matter to that lord. There is no room for mistakes in the plan. We have already arranged for 10,000 years. Just like what Li Zan fellow Taoist said, although we are not taking advantage of it, the pot as we built it, and we have all put in so much effort for it, so we have to eat a little. Although there are many transcend tribulation periods in the Jushao divine dynasty, the transcend tribulation periods are like ants in front of that lord. No matter how many there are, even if there is a half-step cultivator behind them, it is impossible to be that person, opponent. Qian Lin frowned. But I always feel a little restless. Chen Wenxian said indifferently. Qinline fellow Taoist don't need to worry. The celestial star realm cannot produce a cultivator of immortal rank. They have to ascend to the upper realm, and if a cultivator of the upper realm wants to enter the celestial star realm, there will be earth-shattering events. In these years, the sky and the star world have been calm, and it is impossible for a cultivator of the immortal rank to come down. The nine heavens divine dynasty, even if there is a strong one, the half-step human immortal realm is invincible. Hearing this, Qian Lin's brows finally relaxed slightly, and the hundreds of transcend tribulation periods made him feel a little numb in his heart. This number is too huge, and he doesn't even know how so many were born. Could it be that the Jushao divine dynasty obtained a secret realm left by a certain immortal? It seems that this is the only way to explain it. Reminiscing that behind On is a great person of the immortal rank, the tone in Qian Lin's heart also eased, and he no longer had any worries. Prepare for 10,000 years. If they succeed this time, the four major forces will gain a lot, and they may even directly break through and ascend. Soon, the figures of the four also disappeared in place. At the same time, a carriage slowly drove out of Xuantian City. In front of the carriage are two strong horses, each of which has snow-white hair, causing the passers-by around to keep looking back. However, after discovering that the white horse was just an ordinary third-order demonic beast, he turned his head away and stopped paying attention. The third-order demonic beasts are comparable to the Golden Core period. At first, looking at the imposing manner of this white horse, I thought it was some important person, but it turned out to be just a person with a good face. Who can use Tier 3 demonic beasts to pull a carriage? Who can be a big shot? The coachman in front of the carriage is a girl with a graceful figure, and her slender body is infinitely imaginative. Around the carriage, there were 3 guards with swords on horseback. They were all riding on white horses in front of the carriage. They looked majestic and full of momentum. However, to investigate its spiritual chi fluctuations, it is only the cultivation base of the Golden Core period. After leaving Xuantian City, the girl in front of the carriage immediately said pleasantly, Patriarch, let's leave Xuantian City. A voice suddenly sounded in the carriage. Wanqing, didn't I tell you not to call me Patriarch? This group of people were naturally Chen Daojun, Lin Wanqing and the others. After staying in Xuantian City for so long, Chen Daojun also wanted to go out for a stroll, so he took it as a breather. As for Chen Wenxian and the others just now, he just glanced at them and didn't bother to continue paying attention. Jushao Divine Dynasty now has its own rules. If they insist on breaking the rules, just let them die suddenly. He didn't bother to pay attention to several transcend tribulation periods, and there was no need to pay attention. Lin Wanqing's face flushed immediately, and she whispered, then my name is, Master. When she said this, Lin Wanqing's voice was full of temptation, and she put her own attitude extremely, like a lamb at the mercy of others. Even Chen Daojun would not resist what she did to her. Lin Wanqing bit her lower lip lightly, and then said sweetly, Dear Master, where are we going next? Chen Daojun is a little speechless. This girl will never give up until she achieves her goal, right? In the past few years, he has been greedy for his body all the time, and he couldn't control it several times. Let's go to the Northern Territory. The Celestial Star Realm has 4 major sections, namely the Northern Territory, the Desolate Territory, the Central Province and the Endless Sea Territory. Among them, the Endless Sea area is a collective name for the combination of fast and fast small lands. It is intricate and not as large as the other 3 major plates. It is heard that the Celestial Star Realm originally consisted of 7 major plates, and the 4 major plates were broken up behind, some of which were combined with the 3 lands of the Barren Land, and the rest were directly scattered, and finally formed the Endless Sea area. The Northern Territory, on the other hand, is a piece of land adjacent to the Barren Territory, which can only be reached by crossing 100,000 mountains. Lin Wanqing said sweetly again, "Obey, master." 30%. Chapter 98 Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce in Qingfeng City. Chen Daojun and others quickly left Jushaoyu and headed for Shiwanda Mountain. Their speed was extremely fast, and after leaving the Nine Heavens territory, they traveled 1,000 meters in almost an instant. The 100,000 mountains are no longer considered the scope of the Barren Domain, and more of them are the territory of the Demon Clan, and there are many powerful demonic beasts among them. Such as the 9th-level demonic beasts, this kind of strength can be compared to the powerhouses of the Transcend Tribulation period of the human race. But the scope of the Shiwandashan is also very vast, and there are many places that are slightly weaker. Every year, the northern region and the barren region pass through these weaker places, and then trade with each other, but in most cases, people from the barren region go to the northern region. Because the overall strength of the Northern Territory is higher than that of the Wild Territory, they have strong players in the Mahayana period, and even the Transcend Tribulation period, but they are weaker than Zhongzhou. In front of the 100,000 mountains, there is a city named Qingfeng. Qingfeng City is similar to the Black Mountain Camp, and its main function is to trade and find teams to enter Shiwandashan together. It's just that his scale is much higher than that of the Montenegro Camp, and a system has been formed inside, not as chaotic as the Montenegro Camp. As soon as I entered the city, I heard many people in Qingfeng City talking about Jushao Divine Dynasty. Although there is still some distance from Jushao Divine Dynasty, there are many people who come in and out of Jushao Divine Dynasty on weekdays and come to Qingfeng City, so there is also news pass it here. Chen Daojun had just entered Qingshui Peak, and he immediately walked up to the first person in the city. He looked ordinary and dressed in the same way, looking like a passerby. Before he got close, an extremely fierce momentum locked him. This person was the guard beside Chen Daojun's carriage. Under this breath, the man fell into an ice cellar, as if his throat was being choked. The man hurriedly bowed respectfully to the carriage and said, "My lord, the villain is a human spy, codenamed Tianyan, and he is here to receive your lord." Hearing this sentence, the guard withdrew his gaze. These 3 are all summoned characters drawn by Chen Daojun, namely Chen Ling, Chen Mi, and Chen Wu. People from the Human World Organization have now spread all over the entire Celestial Star Realm, and almost all matters, large and small, are under the control of the Chen family. Chen Daojun's voice sounded from inside the carriage. "No need, let's get down." Tianyan heard the words, immediately saluted respectfully, then turned and left directly. After turning around and leaving, he felt relieved and terrified. Having been stared at by the guards just now, he felt like he was going to die, but he was just pretending to be calm. Is this the master of our Vientiane? Just a guard is so scary. Tianyan's face was full of excitement, although he did not see Chen Daojun, but this was the first time for him to get so close and in contact with the Lord. I'll have to blow about this for the rest of my life. Just after Tianyan took 2 steps, Chen Daojun's voice sounded again, "Wait a minute." Tianyan immediately turned around and walked back, respectfully said, "Does the Lord still have orders?" Chen Daojun's voice sounded slowly. "What's so interesting about Qingfeng City? Let's hear it." Tianyan said immediately without hesitation. "To the Lord, there are sky towers and east gates in Qingfeng City where you can see the scenery. If you want to play, it is one-line street. There are many chambers of commerce there. Lots of weird stuff. Miss Chen Yi's Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce also has 2 branches there. If the owner comes to visit, then these places are fine. Other places are very ordinary." Chen Daojun's face showed a look of surprise. Is Chen Yi's Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce so open? Sky Eye, right, then take me to one-line street. A look of ecstasy suddenly appeared on Tianyan's face. He never thought that he would still have the opportunity to personally receive the Lord, although it was just to lead the way, but this could blow a 10,000 year. Vientiane's Human Affairs Department all know that they are serving Chen Daojun. They all admire the big man behind the Jushao divine dynasty. Countless spies will meet Chen Daojun, which is a lifelong pursuit. Tianyan immediately led the way, and the carriage drove slowly again. Chen Daojun said to Chen Ling outside, "Next time keep a low profile, don't scare others, no one can hurt me yet, don't worry." Chen Ling immediately nodded respectfully, "Of course." Chen Daojun has won countless treasures in lottery draws in the past 3 years, among which there are countless treasures for self-defense, and he also has invincibility cards. Must kill, who is my opponent? This time it comes out mainly for fun, so it's best to keep a low profile. Just like the white horse pulling the cart is actually the dragon horse of Shanji, Chen Daojun asked them to suppress cultivation base, just because they were worried about being too high profile. Chen Daojun's carriage was as majestic as in Xuantian City, with a high rate of turning heads, but after finding out that it was only the third-order demonic beasts, he turned his head and stopped paying attention. It's just a third order. However, there are also people who have taken a fancy to the breeze of this dragon horse, so they approached to buy it, but they were all rejected. Wanline Street is indeed the busiest place in Qingfeng City. The width of the street alone is 200 meters. People come and go, and it is very lively. Chen Daojun took a look after opening the curtains, and couldn't help but sigh, this place is not from Jushao Divine Dynasty. But sooner or later it will be. Jushao Divine Dynasty will unify the entire celestial star realm sooner or later. Soon, a majestic building appeared in front of my eyes, with 2 void returning guards standing at the door, and the signboard on it said, Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce, in 4 big characters. This is the headquarters of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce in Qingfeng City. Just looking at this style, it is a few blocks away from other chambers of commerce. Moreover, there are many people coming in and out of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce. It can be said that it is one of the hottest chambers of commerce in the entire Wanline Street. Being a guard during the void return period, this girl is really extravagant. The other guards on Wanline Street only have a few nascent soul stages at most, and a divine transformation stage is already great, but the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce directly uses the void return stage as guards, which is enough to see the gap. Chen Daojun threw out a universe bag to Tianyan, and then said, "Go down, let's go shopping by ourselves." After Tianyan took the Chenkin bag, he immediately saluted respectfully and left. Chen Daojun got off the carriage, glanced around and said, let's go shopping too." Lin Wanqing's face was filled with excitement immediately. For any girl, shopping is irresistible. It has to be said that the law and order in Qingfeng City is still very good. Although it is not at the same level as Xuantian City, it feels comfortable, with a night market atmosphere of fireworks. Chen Daojun looked at the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce in the distance, and then said with a smile, "Let's go support Chen Yi's little girl's Chamber of Commerce." 31%. Chapter 99 White VIP Card. Walking into the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce, the first thing that catches the eye is an orderly array of shelves, marked with what type they belong to. The entire Chamber of Commerce has a total of 13 floors, and the higher you go, the better things are. Of course, for them, shopping is secondary, and Chen Daojun has no shortage of heavenly and mortal treasures at all, so he didn't just ignore the first level of things because they were low level. Their main purpose was to have fun, and Lin Wanqing also walked around on the first floor with great interest. The Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce has something similar to a shopping cart. When you go in to buy things, you can get a universe bag and put the required things into the universe bag. Of course, you can also put it in your own Chenkin bag, but if you get caught, you will chop your hands. The two quickly finished shopping on the first floor, walked towards the second floor, and kept going up like this. After the 8th floor, next to each counter, there is a receptionist who is responsible for explaining and receiving. When it comes to the things above, the grade is not low, and almost all of them are used by cultivators above the divine transformation period, and the things above can only be traded face to face, and cannot be placed in the Chenkin bag. Chen Daojun and Chen Daojun are both exposed to rain and dew, and they will choose 2 products on almost every floor. The two continued to walk up, and when they reached the top floor, a product immediately attracted Lin Wanqing's attention. It was a lavender dress, the silk was exquisite and exuded soft waves. This dress was put on the puppet, but even so, it made the puppet look extraordinary. Lin Wanqing's eyes lit up, and she immediately went to check it carefully. After a while, Lin Wanqing turned her head to look at Chen Daojun, her eyes full of anticipation. "Master, I want to." Chen Daojun looked at the dress, and it was really nice. The price was 1 million top-grade spirit stones. The reception staff next to the clothes immediately stepped forward and enthusiastically explained. Guests, this dress is a defensive treasure of the intermediate level, named Zilling Baoshang, and it is made of Zilling silk. Launch the 3 full-strength attacks of the indistinguishable Dao early stage. Even though Chen Daojun and Chen Daojun's cultivation base was only in the nascent soul stage, the reception staff did not underestimate it, and instead explained it patiently. But patience is patience, this is just her professionalism. In her heart, she still didn't think Chen Daojun and Chen Daojun could afford it. Although these two people are very handsome, talented and beautiful, but they are too young, and they only have the nascent soul stage cultivation base. 1 million top-grade spirit stones is not a small amount for those top forces in the indistinguishable Dao period, and it is absolutely impossible to give it to the juniors to pick up girls. But these two people can see that they are either rich or expensive, and they think that they have come to the top to gain knowledge, and they may become potential big customers of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce in the future. Such a young nascent soul stage will definitely be a strong player in the void return stage and even the indistinguishable Dao stage in the future. Lin Wanqing turned her head to look at him eagerly again, and repeated with hopeful expression, "Master, I want to." Chen Daojun said a little speechlessly, "Didn't I give you pocket money? It's not like you don't have 1 million top-grade spirit stones." Hearing these words, the smile on the receptionist's face suddenly disappeared. What? She wondered if she had heard it wrong. Pocket money, 1 million top-grade spirit stones. But her expression is a little weird, "Master. The young people are playing really well." Lin Wanqing pursed her lips and said, "But I just want you to buy it for me. The one the master gave is completely different from the one I bought myself. Is it okay?" Chen Daojun looked at her anxious eyes and could only say, "Okay, help me pretend." Right now, Lin Wanqing is just a pure grinder, but she also grasps it just right. Every time she grinds Chen Daojun, she won't overdo it, and when it's almost done, she will stop it. The reception maid was a little dazed. She never thought that the two of them could really afford it, and judging by Chen Daojun's appearance and calm attitude, it didn't seem like an act at all. Can you really afford it? This is 1 million top-grade spirit stones. The reception maid looked a little hesitant, and she asked again, "My lord, are you sure you want to buy it? This purple spirit dress is 1 million high-grade spirit stones, not low-grade spirit stones." Chen Daojun nodded. "I know, just pretend it, I'll give it to spirit stones." When the reception maid heard the words, she didn't say anything more, but said respectfully, "You two wait a moment, I'll go and invite the steward of our Chamber of Commerce, and he will be in charge of your transactions. After all, this is 1 million top-grade spirit stones, and they are only in charge of reception, not transaction." There were quite a few reception maids on the top floor. Seeing that someone actually bought Zilling Baoshang, and they were still so young, all of them looked at Chen Daojun with surprised eyes. Which family does this young master belong to? Why have you never seen him before? It looks very unfamiliar, so it shouldn't be from Qingshui City, right? We often have some outsiders here, and I guess they must come from other places. You guys, you still judge people by their appearance. Maybe he's only there because of his appearance, maybe he's thousands of years old. How is this possible? He's only at the nascent soul stage. Obviously, the younger generation of which big family has a higher probability. Can a nascent soul stage live for 10,000 years? A group of reception maids were discussing in low voices. Their eyes were full of curiosity. They were very curious about this son who could spend millions of top-grade spirit stones. After a while, the reception maid turned back again, and beside her was a middle-aged man with a refined temperament. When the middle-aged man saw Chen Daojun, he immediately stepped forward with a smile and asked, "My humble branch president of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce, Wang Yuan, the guest officer wants to buy this purple spirit dress, right?" Chen Daojun nodded lightly. Wang Yuan waved his hand, put Zilling Baoshang into a Chenkin bag, and then said with a smile, "Our Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce's transaction method is very simple, one hand pays, the other hand delivers the goods." As he spoke, Wang Yuan directly handed the Chenkin bag in his hand to Chen Daojun, while looking at him straight in the eye. Wang Yuan still had some doubts about the financial resources of the two people in front of him. 1 million top-grade spirit stones, is this the financial resources that a nascent soul should have? This is obviously a bit too fake. However, the prospective candidates of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce will not ignore anyone, even if the other party is just a beggar. All in all, it is better to be wrong than to let go. Chen Daojun was going to give it directly to Spirit Stones, but after thinking about it, he took out a white jade token and handed it over. Can you pay for this thing? Wang Yuan just glanced at it, and then said with a smile, Guest officer, we don't support barter here, we can only return the Spirit Stones with a clearly marked price, you. The smile on Wang Yuan's face suddenly shrank, and then he looked at the token in Chen Daojun's hand. Why is this brand so familiar? VIP card. The VIP card of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce is just different in color, and there are only two types, ordinary VIP and super VIP. One of them is red and the other is purple, but this one is white. White. Wang Yuan was shocked. There are white VIP cards in the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce, but the number is extremely limited, and they are not for public use. They are only for the Chen family to use. That is, the Chen family behind the president. With this card, you can buy anything from the Chamber of Commerce without restrictions, and you don't need to pay any money. This is the role of the white VIP card. People from the Chen family. Oh my god, 31%. Chapter 100. A member of the Chen family. Wang Yuan watched everything carefully, his mind was shocked. Yes, that's right. However, this is also the first time he has seen a white VIP card, so he was not sure for a while, so he could only ask. Young master, are you from the Chen family? Chen Daojun nodded slowly. Chen Yi gave him this jade card, saying that he could buy things at the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce in the future, so he tried it. After receiving an affirmative answer, Wang Yuan couldn't help but gasp. His expression was full of respect and flattery. Young master is here, and the villain is far away to welcome you. However, the villain still needs to verify the authenticity of this jade tablet, and ask the young master to make amends. Chen Daojun waved his hand. Go. Wang Yuan saluted respectfully again, and then left quickly. Although the other party said that he was from the Chen family, he couldn't guarantee this. Identity and the VIP card of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce are not out of the question. The reception maids at the top were a little dazed when they saw the branch president being so respectful. What's happening here? Why is the chairman so respectful to this young man? You must know that the president is not just a simple president, he is also a strong man in the return to origin period of indistinguishable Dao, even a top strong man in the entire Qingshui city. Moreover, Wang Yuan is also the branch president of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce. Almost everyone in Qingshui city knows the origin of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce. It is a real giant. What is the origin of these two people, so that the president can be so respectful? I see that young master gave the president a white jade badge just now, and then the president's expression changed. However, the jade badge is somewhat similar to the VIP card of our Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce, but the color is different. I feel very similar when you say that. Could it be that it is also our VIP card? Why have I never seen it before? No matter what, the chairman's face changed drastically because of that thing. Anyway, it must have something to do with the General Association, maybe it's a more advanced VIP card. And the reception maid who was closer to Chen Daojun hurried forward and said. The two of you might as well go to the front and sit there first. Each floor of the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce has a special resting place. Chen Daojun glanced at Lin Wanqing beside him, and then directly refused. No need, let's take a look. Then the two continued to walk around. The maids who received the reception on this floor stepped forward very respectfully when they saw the two approaching. Even people like the president have to greet them with a smile, let alone them. At this moment, two people walked in from the top floor, a woman with a delicate face and a graceful figure, and a middle-aged man who looked dissolute and unrestrained came up. The woman said very affectionately, Brother Qian is so kind, I have been looking at this purple spirit dress for a long time, but unfortunately my money is too shy, and my family is reluctant to buy it for me. Qian Wenfeng smiled and said, Sister Yu, it's just a purple spirit dress. The Qian family doesn't want to buy it for you, so I'll buy it for you. When you marry into my Qian family, don't even talk about a purple spirit dress. Even if it's 10, I'll find a way to get it for you. A polite smile appeared on Yu Feng's face, but her eyes were full of contempt. Are you stupid or am I stupid? Does the Qian family have the ability to buy 10 pieces? The Qian family is not considered a top power in Qingfeng City, and this Qian Wenfeng is only at the indistinguishable Dao early stage. Even if the entire Qian family is emptied, he can only afford 2 or 3 items at most. He also said 10 things, and he was not afraid of laughing his teeth out. But even so, Yu Feng didn't directly expose Qian Wenfeng, she still liked the Zilling Baosheng very much. The strength of the Yu family in Qingfeng City is much stronger than that of the Qian family. There are several indistinguishable Dao period powerhouses in the clan, and there are even indistinguishable Dao return to origin powerhouses. However, the Yu family is more realistic and values qualifications very much. But Yu Feng's aptitude is extremely mediocre. Even though she is a direct descendant of the Yu family, she doesn't receive much preferential treatment, and she can only rely on herself for many cultivation resources. She is just a woman with mediocre strength. If she wants to obtain resources, she will definitely not be able to rely on fighting. In the end, Yu Feng changed her strategy and used her identity as a direct descendant of the Yu family to hook up with men from other forces, and then let them spend money for her. Wait until the value of the other party is almost squeezed out, and then leave directly. Anyway, with her status as a direct descendant of the Yu family, who in Qingfeng City can do anything to them. Many forces wanted to establish relationships with the Yu family, and Yu Feng always gave them a sense of drama, which led to many people taking the bait. The two walked straight towards Ziling Baosheng's Xingxin. Someone on the top floor knew Yu Feng and Qian Wenfeng, so a reception maid immediately walked up and said with a smile. Patriarch Qian, Miss Yu, what do you want to buy this time? Yu Feng smiled lightly and said, we are here to buy Ziling clothes. Hearing this sentence, the smile on the face of the reception maid suddenly froze, and then said with some embarrassment. Miss Yu, I'm really sorry, Ziling Baochang was bought by another customer before. Although the Ziling Baosheng has not yet been sold, Chairman Wang Yuan has already put it away, which means that the deal has been done. Unless there is a problem with Chen Daojun later, Ziling Baosheng will continue to be sold. What? Yu Feng's face was full of astonishment. Although this purple spirit dress was a defensive treasure, it was actually not worth 1 million top-grade spirit stones at all. The fundamental reason for selling at this price is that the clothes are beautiful and made of special materials. If 1 million is to be practical, doing anything is better than buying this Ziling treasure dress. Yu Feng really couldn't figure out who else in Qingshui City would buy him. Ziling Baosheng has been in the Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce for a year. Most of the other things on this floor have been sold and then refilled, but this Ziling Baosheng has never been empty. In the end, I was obviously about to get it, but in the end, someone got ahead of me. Qian Wenfeng's face was also a little ugly. He was going to buy this Ziling treasure dress with a lot of blood, and use it to build a good relationship with the Yu family. If this item is gone, wouldn't his plan come to nothing? Thinking of this, Qian Wenfeng asked again. Sister Yu, since everything has been bought, why don't you take a look at what you like here, and I'll buy it for you directly? Yu Feng immediately started acting coquettishly. No, I just want that purple spirit dress, I don't want anything else. She had prepared a lot for this Ziling Baosheng, and even spent 3 months arguing with Qian Wenfeng, but now it was ruined. Seeing this, Qian Wenfeng had no choice but to ask the reception maid, I wonder if you can tell me who bought the Ziling clothes. The reception maid immediately shook her head. Patriarch Qian, our Ziyuan Chamber of Commerce does not have this rule. Commerce does not have this rule. Commerce does not